Hello, everyone. Welcome to Drop Frames. We got the OG crew back. There's not really a new G. We got the crew back. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
Cohh, you're already sick. Why are you coughing? Stop. You can't be sick.
I'm just always sick.
Don't
man.
be
That's how it
eternally
works.
sick. You got to fix
Yep.
this. Okay, he continues to. Thank you for the continual cough. Yeah, we'll get a doctor in
We're
here
good.
soon. Yeah, that was Zeke's laugh.
Dr. Ollie's on the case.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm allergic to cats, but this isn't helping right here.
That's true. Oh my God, he says, "Put me down, Dad, please."
Just slap me. Oh God. Oh, it hurts so much.
Does he like claw into your beard like cats did with me?
He just fell asleep again.
Oh, well, now you can't move. You can't move. That's how you're staying for the rest of the show. We're gonna cut straight through the intro here. We'll circle back around, but we've got an interview to start out the show.
Yes.
As the Rebel Wolves dev team is here to talk about the brand new game they just revealed earlier. Was it last week or was it earlier this week? My weeks have merged together as we're already somehow the 19th of January.
Time is moving faster. It was Monday.
It was Monday. Okay. Jeez. Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and have you guys introduce yourself, and then we're going to grill you all the hardest questions you've ever had to answer, so you should be really nervous about the game. Okay. And also, please, can you... We're three terrible Americans who cannot pronounce names very well, just in general, and you guys are like hard mode for us. So please, tell us how to pronounce your full name.
Right.
We'll start
Maybe
with
I'll
you.
start. Yeah, thanks guys for having us. So I'm Mateusz Tomaszkiewicz. I'm a creative director at Rebel Wolves.
I'm so glad you made him say that, JP. You would have just he would have just left the show. Thank you.
Do you have?
I was tempted to just try to make you say it, you know?
Dude, before the stream, I usually like have I run the names through Google and see if it can like help me out. It's not a help. It can't help at all. We need like
there's still mine that you can try on. I haven't spoiled it yet.
I'm not even good. I saw that you had a shorthand name, and I might just go with that. But please introduce yourself so that our guests can know who you are.
Well, I'm Ariana Siarkiewicz, and I'm a writer at Rebel Wolves.
Fantastic.
Nice.
Oh, and JP, I don't know if you heard this during the pre-show. So we actually all agreed we have a drinking game today for every accidental major spoiler that they drop unintentionally. We all drink.
Okay. I can.
Great.
I'll keep it together, and then once we take a quick break, I'll catch up.
Sounds great.
Yeah, I'll catch up a little bit later in the show.
Good luck until then.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I'll try to keep everything together. Well, first off, let me get the trailer rolling, the cinematic trailer and gameplay teaser that you guys revealed. We'll kind of have this planned throughout our chit chat. And why don't you give us the quick pitch for the game?
For anyone that hasn't seen it before.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, so you want me to basically tell you a little bit about the game, right? Like the context for the trailer?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the trailer, as I think we mentioned in some other interviews, is like an introduction to the game. So it sets up the premise and the IP, I guess. So our game takes place in this dark fantasy version of medieval Europe, 14th century, when the Black Death was ravaging the countryside, and there were like vast amounts of dead people, obviously. And as you can see in this trailer, our main character's sister, Lunka, is one of the plague victims. So she's still alive, as you can see, but the local lord has decided to take drastic measures of dealing with the plague. And as the story of the CGI unfolds, you will see that his efforts are stopped in rather spectacular fashion, right? And this is kind of like an introduction, because what happens in this CGI is we are showing how the vampires that are one of the mythical creatures that actually live in that world take over, right? So they take over power in this valley, Veil Sangora. And in the game, you will have to basically deal with their regime and see what they are up to. Yeah, that's pretty much in a nutshell, I guess. from the
I think like
introduction.
vampires have so many different permutations, right? We've got like the sparkling vampires. We've got obviously like Nosferatu just came out, so we've got kind of that. And I from what we've seen here, it seems like you guys are kind of leaning into that style of vampire here. I don't see any sparkles on these.
No sparkles on these guys. No.
Yet.
That's true. We haven't met the
There's
sparkling.
a lot of dev time left.
It's true. We haven't met the sparkling vampire. That's a special ability.
When you look at the hair of the youngest one, you could kind of see a little bit of shine there.
Okay, all right. So Twilight influence, clearly. We'll go ahead and
see a little shine off that bald guy's head. Maybe that counts a little bit.
It seems more like the classic inspiration of vampire. Is that on point?
Yeah.
I mean, we took an yeah, I think, I mean, I don't know if you would agree, Ariana, but I think we took inspiration from many different like vampire mythos, media, like Nosferatu, obviously, but I would say like White Wolf, IP definitely. There's a lot of cool ideas there. I'm personally a big fan of Bram Stoker's Dracula. So yeah, a lot of different inspirations. But we also wanted them to be our own, right? We wanted to see, like, if we can find some distinct elements for them. So there is a number of ideas we applied to them. So, for example, as you can see in this CGI, each of these vampires shows different powers, right? And that's going to play a big role in the game. And like visually, you probably noticed, like when they drink blood, like their mouth opens and they have this huge row of like multiple rows of teeth, right? So this is also a big part of like our design for the vampires. So they basically grow teeth all their life, and sometimes the teeth grow in other places on their bodies. Like if you would take a look at this female vampire that we were showing that was exploding the guy. If you look closely, you'll see like she has teeth growing up on her head even, right? So it's like this nasty feature, this nasty kind of like Nosferatu feature they have to deal with, right? And by that you can also tell, and you can tell like which ones are older than the others, right? Because this change progresses.
They aren't like becoming bitten and suddenly turning into something entirely different, but it's very gradual as they are becoming more and more with that nature, right? Attuned to it.
Yeah, but it's also you can tell like how old they are upon seeing them, right? So it's a visual cue, which makes
more or less, obviously.
Yeah, a ton of sense.
So what I'm hearing is, if you want to get romantic with these vampires, you got to be like super careful.
or wear lots of leather.
It's true. Yeah, tons of leather. How do the I don't. Maybe this is revealing too much. Do the fangs like retract? Like, is this a Wolverine situation here? Okay.
Kind of. They do retract. So when you talk to them, they're not like that all the time. Right?
Okay.
Like when they feed,
it's hard to say. He'd have a tough time.
Kind of reminds me of those animals that have like those weird tongues they use to, attack their prey or something like that. And
cuttlefish.
Yeah, I don't remember which one it was, but it was very
with a little glowing orb. That's what it looks like to me. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah. A different perspective, Zeke, but sure, yeah, we'll allow
so
it.
It's just
anglerfish.
On that note, and I'll probably have lots of little random questions. Feel free to answer them or not, because a lot of them are going to be lore. So is it the kind of thing where it is like Wolverine, where these guys can like, for effect, like be like, oh, well, I'm a vampire, fwink, or is it more of like it happens when it gets dark and they can't control it kind of thing?
So there are a few things, right? Like you probably noticed, like their pupils, they reflect light in a specific way. So this is a small inspiration we took from Midnight Mass, actually.
Awesome.
So kind of they're kind of like cat eyes, so they capture all the light, in the dark. And this is like involuntary; they don't control it. But if you close caption on the on this frame where our Brancis, so this guy, the bald vampire, when he hypnotizes Cohen, like his pupils dilate, right?
Yeah.
So this is kind of like when he uses his power, right? Like this is when it happens. So some of these are like, I would say, involuntary. When they feed, it can be involuntary. It can be on purpose, I would say sometimes. I guess if you have a especially dramatic vampire, they could use it for dramatic effect. Yes.
Ooh, And now we're talking. This is gonna make some fun cutscenes. I can already tell.
Yeah, exactly. I love the Midnight Mass mention. Is a huge Flanagan fan.
Yes,
That's awesome.
yes.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love Mike Flanagan, and Midnight Mass is probably one of my favorites, I would say.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. Fantastic stuff. Cohh, go ahead. I know you've
So,
got
okay.
questions written all over your face. You're ready to
So-
jump in. So please.
I have this small block of questions that I would love to ask. I understand that you most likely cannot answer most of them, so feel free to just glaze over things that you can't. But
Let's see.
so I am a large Witcher fan. When I saw that this was coming, when I saw this preview, I was like, oh man, I'm on board. I can't wait to do my giant playthrough in this, etc., etc. So at the tail end of one of the discussions, they mentioned that it was not, they weren't using the term sandbox. They were using the term narrative sandbox.
Mhm.
Now, the thing is like that immediately for gamer nerds like me means that this game could be potentially like bridging or being between genres. Like this isn't going to be like just my big do everything sandbox. Like this is a narrative sandbox. And then additionally after that, there was this kind of follow-up where it's like, yeah, you're going to have, a time limit, and we want to add like a pressure to it. I would love to know more about this and if these mechanics are going to be in the game to the point where it's going to change the type of game it is. Like for instance, the thing that I was thinking of is like, and a lot of times in these sandbox games, you play 60, 70, 80% through the game. Then you have to make a choice between this side and that side. And then if you choose this side, if you want to play that side, you have to play through the 80% of the game again and then make the selection. So I'm wondering, like, it sounds like you guys are kind of wanting to do like this branching, you can't go back, you have to make decisions thing, but at the same time, the sandbox feel, I'll just let you say it. I think you see where I'm going with this.
Yeah, no, I see it completely. It's a very loaded question, so I'll need to
Yes.
take it step by step. So first of all, like regarding the sandbox part and the narrative sandbox, like what do we mean by this when we talk about narrative sandbox? We mean that we are like one of our core principles for the design of this game is maximizing the player's agency. And we wanted to extend it not just to like gameplay actions, but we wanted to extend it to narrative, right? Which means we didn't want to put you like on the rails. Like there is like a few quest lines, you just complete them. That's it. You completed the content. You're done. No, we wanted to kind of let you tailor your own experience as you go. So we definitely lean heavily into non-linearities. We have a lot of non-linearities in our quests. But what I think makes it different from our previous projects is like there are some storylines you might decide not to pursue at all, right? And it won't block your progress through the game. You can play it as you want. So there is a lot of like kind of like pick and choose in the way we build it, kind of. I kind of like to think about it like a box of chocolates. We let you in and you can pick the ones you like. The ones you don't like, you can like skip them. You can actually go for the main goal, you can approach it any way you want, right? Like obviously I don't want to get into the spoilers area here, but you have this main goal. Which I think we already mentioned in the press review, statements and so on, like rescue your family. And the way you go about it is up to you. Like you can just, level up your character in the open world and like just go and rescue them. You can look for allies. You can just, look for like things that will give you an advantage, like this extra edge you need to achieve your goal, right? Moving on to like
It's very Fallout. I love that so much. Just go out in the world,
definitely.
figure out where to go, and go do what you need to do.
Definitely.
Like that is a beautiful thing.
Exactly. Like when you look back to Fallout, like generally this is how it was, right? Like you were given like a very clear goal from the start, and it was up to you, right? Like how to finish that goal. And if you knew where to go, like when you replay Fallout 2, for example, where or Fallout 1 for that matter, where you know where the chip is, you can just go, right? Like you can go and you can get it. You can do it really fast if you're really good. Obviously, it might be difficult because like fighting these super mutants might be tough, right? But you can do it if you want. And this is like our approach to structuring a game. But at the same time, we also wanted to have like a very high fidelity narrative, right? Like we wanted to focus on the narrative as well, because this is what our previous games were known for and loved for. And we didn't want to abandon this aspect of the game, obviously. So we are investing a lot of time into the quests and the story and the writing, which I'm sure Ariana can talk about, like our stylizations and so on. So that is another big part of this. Is why this word narrative fits into this narrative sandbox, right? Like we're not making it like a sandbox game where everything is like just like, you know, there for the gameplay purpose. Like it's not like a full sandbox where you just get toys to play with in gameplay, and you know, interactions with NPCs would be like reduced to the bare minimum. No, we wanted to have these fully fleshed out quests that we are known for. So that is the second part of it. In terms of like exploration, again, maximizing freedom is our like driving principle. So you have a lot of freedom in how do you explore the world. Again, I don't want to spoil too much, but like, of course, like we have a section where we introduce you to the game concepts, and so on and so forth. But then we let you go, right? And it's up to you. What do you want to do? So I hope that alleviates some of these questions you are having. And then, of course, there is this loaded question of the time limit, right? You mentioned the 30 days, 30 nights.
And real quick before we continue, we have had
Yeah, go ahead.
confirmation since then that
Yes.
it is a resource you choose when to spend. There is no
Yes.
overarching timer ticking down.
No,
And
no.
yeah, you can take
No,
it.
so basically the time doesn't like tick in real time. So if you were to stand in place, like it will just wait for you. And it is a resource, meaning there are certain actions in game that will push the time forward, but we always give you control over it. Like we always telegraph to you, like, look, if you'll go along with this, this is how much time you will spend on it, you know, either by quest objectives or sometimes on certain choices, we telegraph it to you. So the reason for this was like we wanted you, like we, first of all, when I came into the project, this was one of my because this concept was already kind of in the core principles for the project. That was one of the big questions in my mind. Exactly, like, won't this be too stressful? You know, like I want to play the game like I want to play it. I don't want to like be worried that if I explore this meadow or these ruins for too long, the game will punish me for it, right? So we are paying a lot of attention to this, obviously. And yeah, like this clear telegraphing is one of the ways we alleviate it. But there are also other things we are doing to kind of deal with these feelings. And we are obviously like looking closely at the reactions. Like I mentioned, I think to you on online, I watched your stream and I was like, yeah, I mean, obviously this is potentially a big pain point. We will need to be extra careful about
And I
this.
and thank you so much for coming on and talking about it. Yeah, I really appreciate that.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, I understand the worry, but at the same time, you know, like if you want to innovate, which we obviously want to do, we want to push the genre forward. There are risks, of course, but I feel this element adds something very interesting to the game overall, because it kind of makes it feel like the stakes are real, you know?
Yeah.
And also another thing. Yeah, exactly. Emotions and like, you know, the stakes are real, and certain things can happen, again, without spoiling too much. And the way I think about it is non-linearity. Again, this is just another way we execute on non-linearity, you know, like basically it's not like a hard limit. It will just lead to different outcomes, so you need to be mindful of that, right? It just plays, it also ties very well into this whole day and night loop, because our hero is a Dawnwalker. So he's kind of like in between the worlds. Like during the nighttime, you get a different set of abilities. During the daytime, you get a different set of abilities. And like, you know, spending this resource kind of also ties into this, because like if you spend too much time in a specific activity, you will switch to this different mode. So you kind of have to you know, think ahead, like what do you want to do next?
Very cool.
I really
Very
hope
cool.
it will just make it interesting, and both daytime and nighttime will be equally engaging to players and open different ways of handling different quests, which should be very fun. And we are
Absolutely.
very much watching the reactions and fine-tuning things to make sure it's because it's supposed to be satisfying to players, right? Not like stressful and something they hate,
Right.
but something that adds to the experience. And we are really trying to achieve that.
Big plus one. We don't want you to have a decision paralysis.
Yeah. Well, no, it's interesting you say that, because like, okay, so for one instance, like when we first heard this, I don't know if you remember that game called Dead Rising, where it's like, yeah, it looks cool on paper, but then you play it and it's like, oh my God, you're constantly staring at the timer, you're stressed, you know, things are happening.
Yeah.
And so one of the things, and so it's good to hear it's not going to be like that. One kind of interesting thing though, that I'm kind of, figuring out in my head, like which direction you guys want to go with it. So with a system like this means that the player will need to be choosing between like major pieces of content potentially that you guys have worked on, and that players won't be able to see a lot of that content in a single playthrough. Is this game being designed from the foundation to be played multiple times?
I would. So the way I look at it,
because people like me I want to see everything. Everything you've put in this game, everything you've touched, I want to see it. So I want to know how I'm going to do that.
Yeah. I think you will be able to see majority of content in a single playthrough. However, the way I look at it, it's more like we did on The Witcher, where if you picked certain choices, some scenes you would not see in a single playthrough, right? But it didn't feel like. I mean, okay, so I'm guessing. This is my impression. Like it did. I don't think it felt like we kind of robbed you of anything, right? And you need to play
in
again
Witcher?
to see.
Not at all.
Yeah.
No. In Witcher, because it was like in each. Oh yeah, like because it was like a little bit at the end of a quest, you'd want to like do a playthrough in a different way. Like, oh, let's be mean to everyone, or let's do all the bad options and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
made it great.
I think you'll probably see majority of content. However, there are a few things that can impact like what content you might miss. So time is of course one thing. Like some things can time out if you ignore them for long. But we are kind of taking we're giving a lot of like leeway to the players, right? We try to make it player friendly. Like we will never fail anything for you that you were not aware might be happening, right?
Right.
So for example,
is that a promise? Can you put that in writing?
Well, let me tell you this. I am very strict about it when we talk with the designers and the writers about this. So
my man, there we go.
I
okay.
hope so. If we miss any of it, I'm sorry.
Is that what I was gonna say? Because that's gonna be me. I'm gonna be the guy that has done everything he could do before he has to progress time, and then he's gonna take a deep breath and progress time and be like, "Where the quest failed? What'd I do? What did I miss?" Like every single time I have to progress time, that's gonna be me. Like, okay, here we go, guys. We're progressing time.
Think about it like you come across like a burning house, let's say, right? I'm not saying that's in the game, but let's imagine there is a burning house and you saw the burning house and there is someone calling in for your help, right? If you ignore them and go on to do some other activity that pushes time forward, well, yes, the house will burn down and the person will die, but that's kind of your choice, it feels like, to ignore them, right? So it's more like that rather than you were just doing your own thing in the other part of the world and you were not aware the house is burning and then you just see the burnt down house. We don't do this kind of stuff.
And from a writing perspective, we also make sure that, for instance, if you find an NPC that's having some urgent issue, they will tell you, look, this issue is urgent. My house is burning down. Don't leave me here to die, please.
You see that house? It's kind of burning.
And you're like, yeah. But that guy wants me to kill 5 rats for 5 gold.
Well, hold on.
So I'm gonna go do that.
It's gonna be like, no, this guy wants me to fish. He wants me to go catch fish. I'm gonna go do that instead. Sorry about your house. I'll be back.
It will be your
some things are just more important than burning houses. I agree. I understand.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do the NPCs like get like passive aggressive with you afterwards? It's like, I had a house. There was a. I would invite you to supper, but I burned down. Man, you need a companion? Because I got nowhere else to go, bro. I'll go with you.
We do invest a lot in reactivity. So I would say, again, this completely hypothetical example of a burning house, which I do not confirm or deny, the person might react.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So, little unsolicited suggestion. I would love a vampire psionic power that whenever I progress time, puts a little list of any quests that are going to fail above it. So I don't know if we can make that work in the lore, but just say it, that'd be real nice. No, but that's awesome. Okay.
Ariana, are we making a special build for Cohh?
Well, a special build is just adding.
By writer, so
You
just
give
get
me a
quick
little
save,
bit of
quick load.
precog and a fishing pole, and we're good.
Yeah,
Like, that could be my that could be my class.
You don't have to do much for that at all.
No, I have to say though, thank you so much. This is completely illuminated. This is so much more content. I honestly wish that about 90% of what you just said was said at the premiere, because I feel like a lot of this stuff that came from it, we wouldn't. That was great. Thank you. That was awesome. That makes a lot more sense.
I'm glad to hear. You know, we had to squeeze in a certain amount of information in this castle video.
Which is why it was like 2 sentences at the end of one of the things, and I was like, wait, no, go back.
I know.
Go talk to them again.
We also need to know exactly which part will be like, the controversial one. So.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, you never really know how people are going to respond to it. So
we are glad to clarify, and yeah, I mean, again, like I had my doubts as well, and like working on it, you know, for this past year has been very. It put my mind to ease. So I hope for majority of people it will also be fun. Of course, it is some kind of added pressure to the game, but I hope it will work in this way we're thinking about it. That it will make it feel more impactful. You know.
Well, most importantly, that these types of systems only don't work right when they're heavy-handed and they're not properly sunk in. And it sounds like that's exactly what you're trying to do. You're nuancing it to be exactly what you need it to be. And so yeah, sounds like you're going in the right direction. That's great.
Yeah,
that's the goal. We are trying to build this feeling that you are actually living this story. And for instance, like you said, maybe it's not the best idea to go kill those 5 rats for 5 pieces of gold while somebody's house is burning, and perhaps that makes the quest with the burning house more, you know, real in feeling. If you cannot.
Hey, if I had to choose between loot and saving somebody in a burning house, that's an actual decision for me. Like, I'd have to actually sit there. That's hardcore gameplay.
It's loot every time, Cohh. What do you mean? Unless there's loot in the burning house.
What if the guy has loot on him?
Actually, this is actually a good point, because sometimes leaving something to just happen on its own might be something you might want to do, right? Like, it might happen that you might be like, okay, I'm gonna see what happens on purpose. You know?
I don't like that, dude. Let the house burn down. Let's see what he says, right?
You just like set up a lawn chair and popcorn? You're just like, what? Man, sucks, your door's locked.
Well, I guess that brings up a question you might not be able to answer, but is the only way to progress time by completing a quest, or can you just be like, I'm going to sit here till nighttime?
Its majority is like doing actual activities, completing a quest, or like a chunk of a quest, or a side quest. We mostly tie it to activity. From the player. We are not pushing it on, like, if you will stand in place, it will not move on its own, because again, we treat it as a resource. It's not like we're not trying to make a simulation of like realistic time flow, right? It's more of to make this work, we kind of had to turn it into a resource. Now, will it be just on the quests? This is kind of still debated internally. We'll see. But definitely we want to make it like it's always intentional from your side. You will know when it's going to happen. We are putting control in your hands.
Sure. Most importantly, we can choose not to do it. Like, it's not the kind of thing where time is going to be moving forward without us, be like, no, don't do that. Like,
no. We're trying to telegraph ahead of time, so we don't put you in a situation where you're like, well, now I have to, right? And thanks, Mateusz Tomaszkiewicz.
Sometimes when a quest would be better after a time skip, or requires us to, for instance, skip a little bit of time, we are also notifying the player that you can either choose an option here to skip it, or you can just go do other things and return here when the time is right to complete this particular thing that's happening. So it's not annoying,
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
This brings up another interesting part. So as this timer is progressing, I'm assuming, is the world state going to be changing too? Can we talk about that?
Yeah, go ahead. We have a few different systems that impact the world state. The time itself, it's very difficult to talk about this without spoiling, I'll be honest.
You know what? You can just spoil it. It's fine.
No,
Cohh's
we
got
need
the
to keep
go-ahead.
something for the later.
MJ's got a
give you
big wooden
everything,
hook.
Cohh.
He's just waiting. He's just going to drag one of us off the stage right now.
There are changes, but I would say it's a combination of different systems interacting. It's not just the time. It's not just the time.
Sure, makes a lot of sense.
Out of curiosity, some things that I like to do in a playthrough of many different types of games is play the bad ending or the bad outcome for a quest or whatever, and then go, oh, that was hilarious, but I don't really mean it, and then reload a save. Is that like something you can do?
Can you load saves?
Absolutely. You can load saves. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, it's not a roguelike game, so it's not gonna force you into like a specific path. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love doing that too. Every time.
Probably way too early for this.
Although I must say, like, I don't know, did you play Baldur's Gate's Honor Mode? I did enjoy that one. Like, it was actually pretty
Where
fun.
it forced
on
you
my
with your
second-
decisions, yeah.
Yeah, I think on my third playthrough, I played it with a friend, and it kind of like one thing is like no reloading, because I always reload stuff like when things don't go my way, so the rerolls, and this way you cannot, right? So you see content you wouldn't see before. But also the stakes were so much more real, for us. When I played with that friend, we were really excited and like stressed about things going on the screen.
Yeah.
Well,
there's more consequences, right? Like the rolls
Yeah.
actually have weight to them rather than just an F5,
Yeah.
F9 type deal. So
I know it's a little early. I was actually going to ask, are you guys considering like a hardcore mode?
It's very early to talk about this, honestly. Like, who knows? We'll see where we will be later in this year. But I do enjoy these in games. But for the release, definitely we are going with the saves and auto saves and so on.
Yeah, makes sense. I'm curious,
Very
as
cool.
a writer for all of this, like, what is that process? Is it you write one, like, golden path narrative, and then you start the branch, or you start with the branch and just keep going till you end up at golden path? Like, what is that process like as a writer on all of this?
We were mostly trying to look at it more holistically, so that every path has, especially in the smaller stories, every path has its own sense, and it's not like one of them is so much better than the others, because the golden path then kind of takes away from the things that could end up if you didn't follow it. So we rather try to look at it as a tree of possibilities and try to explore all of them at the same time to a satisfying conclusion. So there is like a proper good ending, maybe you could consider it, but
Right.
we try to make sure every ending is satisfying in some way.
Got it.
Even if it's
Okay.
like hurting you very satisfyingly.
Yeah.
So interesting enough, that was another thing that I really wanted to ask you, particularly about Ariana, is you guys are in this interesting position where, vampires are characteristically in media kind of like the bad guys. Like, sure, we get movies sometimes where there's a good vampire or, human related vampires, but most of the time they're the bad guys. That is clearly not quite what we're doing in this game. So like, how did you guys approach that? How are you guys going to walk that line where there could be like good meaning in a bad side?
Yeah, that's a conversation we often have in team, because some people are saying like the vampires are not so bad, I would prefer the vampires, and other people like saying they are bad, and I think it's a good balance, because a player can decide for themselves according to their own values and what they think is more important, whether they would rather the vampires were ruling or if they prefer the previous state of things. We don't want to tell the player, listen, evil, listen, good, right? Of course, especially in a game like that, a dark fantasy, in a horrible world full of people who are evil and monsters who are evil, it's part of the fun not to define it and like decide from up top like this is evil, this is not. So that's
I think
our approach.
Also, this thing you were talking on at the castle. Do you remember when you were talking about the cardboard cutout characters, like that we are avoiding this? That they're kind of like deeply nuanced people,
Yeah,
right?
we try to make even the characters that you would kind of objectively say, oh my god, that's an evil person, that you can at least understand them and understand why they are evil and what for they are evil, and then you can decide whether you can like accept that or if it's absolutely not acceptable and they got to be destroyed, right? But we don't want to like make cardboard cartoonishly evil people that you are just like evil.
Yeah.
The way I see it, basically, when we work with the stories, is we are like, they're not necessarily evil, right? Like sometimes their actions are wrong, like based on our morality, right? But for them, it might be seen differently as well. Like you must remember, like this guy, for example, Brent says he remembers the Roman Empire, right? So you know, he's very old, and some of his ideas might be outdated for what is moral and what isn't. And you know, we apply this to a lot of characters, like sometimes, but like Ariana said, I think this is very important. Like they have motivations you can understand, or sometimes even you know, how do you say it? Sometimes you can even relate in a way, right? Even if you don't agree with their actions.
Oh,
the motivations of the lords in those times were kind of outdated by our standards as well. So you know, it was a different world as well.
Yeah.
Something that's always, I don't know, interested me, fascinated me about writing characters who have lived for centuries. Like, how do you jump into the mindset of somebody who's lived for like 500-600 years? Like, they're more experienced than any of us could possibly be. They've accrued more wisdom. Like, how do you jump into that mind?
Well, it kind of depends how deeply you have to go into the character, because often it's more rewarding and believable if you don't go too deeply into it, because none of us had actually lived for centuries. So saying like, yeah, I know how a 1,000-year-old vampire would be and think about everything, it would be kind of delusional, I think. So it's nice to give them this room to breathe and leave some things unsaid so that everyone can kind of feel what they might be thinking, but not go into, you know, minor details of it and feed the players some kind of bullshit, you know, about them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a real cool peek behind the curtain. That's interesting. I'm sure I've had that probably done to me many times and not even realized it. Now that you've said it, it's like, oh, that's what they were doing. That's cool. That makes a lot of sense.
The narrative tricks of video games, for sure. Yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Writing in general.
Yeah, sure. That's true. Not even video games. So in terms of like the different lords, you just mentioned that the one had like Roman influence, and you can definitely tell that one of them has like Mongolian look to him. Is that just a visual thing, kind of what Ariana was just saying, or is that going to be like is that basically the character's theme or motif that you're kind of leaning into for each one of those lords? If you can even talk about that. I mean, it's in the trailer, but you guys haven't said anything apart from that.
Yeah, we didn't go into much detail about like some of them yet. We will obviously in time. But yes, I would say it is like we tried to go into more detail on these. Like definitely when you interact with them in game, you will learn more about them. There are in the trailer we've shown these four, and yeah, Brancis is hails to Rome. Another one hails like to ancient Greece.
Oh, okay.
It's the female vampire. And yes, obviously, we have this Mongolian vampire as well. But to what degree we explore it, it's, I think, a bit early to talk about. It's definitely an important part of their backstories and like what do they do in the game. It kind of shaped them as people, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. And then in terms of like, obviously this is, you know, the theme of the game is very dark. I think I even heard both of you say dark fantasy, but how dark are we talking? Like, are there going to be some bringing up the different narratives? Now I'm blanking on the show name, even though we were just talking about the Netflix show. Like, those are pretty dark shows. Is that kind of what we can expect from this story as a whole to go the distance?
Bring a flashlight with you.
Okay. All right.
I was going to say, you realize the start was like a dying kid
Yeah.
They got brought back to life as a vampire.
Well, I
the
mean,
dad was
lived.
look,
People getting their limbs ripped apart around him.
you know,
Like, JP, how much darker do you want, big guy? Like, what?
That all happens in Twilight, you know, and Twilight's got, you know, glowy vamps. I don't know.
No, seriously, just a little note, by the way, as a parent watching this, like, a lot of conflicted emotions here. Like, I like, that was wild. Like, okay, my kid's saved, but now they're an ultimate evil. Is this okay? Like, it's a very cool scene. A lot to think about.
I hope all the big choices are like that.
What you're saying, it worked basically.
Yeah, that part for sure, absolutely.
Yeah,
That's good. I mean, in terms of like how dark. Look, I mean, we're not making a horror game. It's not a horror game.
Okay, so you wouldn't call. Okay.
I wouldn't call it a horror game. It's an action adventure RPG. It's dark. It is dark fantasy. There are a lot of dark moments, but you know, our character can also traverse the world during daytime, and there are also uplifting and touching moments. We also aimed for this, right? There are some like lighter moments in the game. So I would say we're trying to strike a balance there. You know. But yes, definitely. I mean, after watching this trailer, you can imagine like some gruesome stuff also happens. So
sure.
So stay tuned for that as well.
What about this is a totally selfish and very me question. What about jump scares? How many jump scares can you tell me? Are we gonna have a lot of like, I'm a vampire out of a corner of darkness, or like, can I play this game? Let's go with that's the scale. Can I play, or a bunch of jump scares? Where do you guys sit at?
I think you can play it, right? We don't aim to jump scare our players. This is not that kind of game.
Yes, I'm back.
I hate jump scares myself.
However, now I'm tempted. I won't lie.
No. Stop it. You don't need
You shouldn't have said anything.
Just a couple,
man.
Just a couple good ones, I think, would be great. Just like one or two would be awesome.
Oh God,
it's the worst because you just don't know to expect them. And
exactly, just like one or two.
Now I'm going to be nervous. On that.
The best part is do it like introducing a side character or something. Just like a side character comes around, just slams into your face.
Yeah, that's his whole thing. Is he just jump scares you? That's what the side character.
You can just use the Oblivion camera that just pans on the character speaking to you. Whatever.
Have like an NPC that doesn't know what vampires are and just thinks they're scary, so he goes around trying to scare you. Okay.
Oh God, I'm sorry. You're giving him my disco.
I know.
I don't like it.
I did have a question about.
Be careful. Yeah.
I need to be careful.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I did have a question about making choices in the game, and how it affects the people you talk to, the world around you. Because in games that we're like, I guess the first question is, how much do your choices matter as far as like choosing to save the guy, choosing not to save the guy, and does it affect like how people in the world react to you? Because in some games, like you grow like a stinking like black cloud around you, and people like, not to mention any games specifically, but like people are like, that guy's evil, we don't like him, like that kind of stuff. That's what I'm curious about.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, like because our core principles revolve around non-linearities and player agency and like impactful like choices. Definitely, we are paying a lot of attention to this. Some of these choices lead to like significantly different playthroughs. I would say you will get vastly different outcomes. We also have different endings for the game, which I won't get too much into right now, obviously. But yes, we do pay a lot of attention to this. And again, time is one of the things that can impact this. Your choices are a different thing that can do it. Blood hunger is another big thing that we are doing. This is the one that Ariana was talking about in the castle video. So you need to keep your character well fed in terms of blood, because if you want, like sometimes someone might get eaten. So this can obviously lead to different outcomes as well.
Yeah, but we try to make it also some kind of non-linearity that you can at least want to explore and see what happens if that happens, and not just
Well, drained technically.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I love that we are now talking about a game where it's like, what verb can happen to people? Oh, they could be eaten. Right?
Now you can choose absolutely, obviously, not to answer this question. But I'm just curious because some vampire lore, they can survive on non-human blood.
Oh.
Is that an option here or no?
Yes. It's definitely an option. Again, I don't want to get too far into this because we're gonna have a gameplay, more gameplay shown in the summer. So we'll definitely talk more about it then. But in a TLDR, yes, you can.
Okay. Cool. I just want to know if there's like maybe a no human kill run that I could attempt because I love doing that. Like your first, I don't know if you're like me, but your first run through is like light side. I'm gonna make all the best decisions. Hooray! No kill, no hurt. Hey, and then the second playthrough is like murder hobo, like all the way through.
Depends on IP for me. Depends on IP for me, I must say. Like in Grim Grim IPs, like let's say Fallout, I was very kind to everyone because it was horrible.
Yeah, because it's already terrible, right? Yeah, exactly. I'm with you, man.
But in Fable, I went very bad. I was very bad in that.
Yeah. Each side definitely has their own fun bits for it, for sure.
Real quick, good time to slide this in since we've been talking about this for a bit. What exactly is coming later? So you said you have this big reveal coming up in the summer?
Yes, we're planning to show more gameplay. Again, I don't want to get into too much detail about this, but we're going to talk more about the gameplay systems, stuff like combat, and so on and so forth. So you can expect to learn more about these when we do this. But again, I can't talk too much about it yet.
Got it. Okay. Cool. Yeah, if chatters are looking to check out more of this, there is a 45-minute like game reveal event where they do go into depth that expands a lot on the 4-minute trailer, and I believe that's on their YouTube. I'll go ahead and link it around some of the chat.
And it ends with a gameplay teaser.
Oh, the teaser is
gameplay teaser at the end.
Very short teaser.
Yes.
Yeah, here
we tried to be super clear about this before we showed.
You guys tried so hard. You tried so hard, but it's still nothing you could have done. Everyone at the end was like, "What?"
I see.
Okay. But this one coming up in the summer. This is like gameplay, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So real quick before we break, I know we don't have you guys for too long. I need to know every single thing about Mecha Vampzilla that we see in this trailer.
Oh.
I'll
freeze frame it here.
It's just all of it. I need to know everything about it. Yeah, if we could just.
Oh, you're thinking of like some kind of secrets we've snuck in there.
Yeah, like I saw the snap of that thing, and that I immediately was like, what is this?
Oh,
like, I'm a big mecha guy. This like, what is this thing? Is that a person? Is that a robot? Like, is there a thing? Is there biology in there? Like, I don't know what this is, but I love everything about it.
It's like a Vampire Lies of P mashup. It looks like
a little bit, yeah.
Oh,
I can tell you, it's one of the enemies you encounter in the game. If you didn't figure that out yet. No, I can't talk too much about it. I'm sorry. It's the spoilers area already.
I got this. This was such a cool scene to add in to the teaser because this scene alone asked 50 different questions, and even though it's only a couple seconds.
What I can tell you is it's not just the vampires, right? Like we are. When you're thinking about this IP, we're thinking about, yes, there are vampires in it, but there are also other things, and that were like myths in our world, and they are actually real in this one, right? So this is one of the creatures.
Really?
Yes, this is one of the creatures, but we also have others. We name dropped some of them in the castle video. Like Ariana was talking about the Uriashes, we were talking about kobolds. So this is another one of them, and you can expect more in the game. But also, we're thinking about this game as a start of a saga, basically. So you can expect that. It won't be vampires till the end of time, basically. It will be also other stuff, other cool stuff.
Cool. Okay. Fantastic.
So the future games, well, this is way ahead, but like
Tell
in your
us about
mind,
the next couple of games.
You're saying like the future games may not even be about vampires, but still be in the same world?
Possibly. We'll see. We'll see when we get there. If it
Cool.
happens, obviously, if we want just crash and burn, but let's hope not. But that's the idea. That's the idea, to deepen the world and show these other aspects of it. We have big plans. We have a lot of ideas. Actually, Ariana and other writers, they spent a lot of time in pre-production of like just fleshing out the IP in general. There are a lot of ideas there that we didn't put in the first game, that we want to build on with the sequels, if they happen, obviously.
Nice.
So yeah, we have a lot of, I think, cool stuff in there. Potentially.
Cool. Yeah, that's very exciting. Yeah,
Very
we could
cool.
I've got
probably
a
do
question.
final questions now. So Zeke.
Okay, I'll do my final question.
Yeah, great.
My final question is very for a very specific sect of people, sect of gamers. Character creation and fashion. Those, I'll just put those two words at you. Tell me about them.
Mostly too early to say. I'm sorry. I know you really want to hear about it. You have to wait for the gameplay reveal. But what I can tell you about the character creation, our character is Cohen. It's this character that you see in the teaser, the character
Nice
you met.
name, by the way.
Yeah. Thank you. We appreciate it. He is he's like a character that you play, so you don't create your own character. But
fine.
you do get to make your own choice, kind of like we did with the Geralt in the past. Like you can make a lot of different choices as him, right? So I'll leave it at that. Yes.
Got it. Okay. Cohh.
So you're not going to give us anything about outfits or weapons or nothing.
Zeke, you're not gonna do it.
Okay.
I don't
Our
think you're
cards
gonna
close to the chest.
Okay. That was for you, Julia. By the way.
So I'm going to be honest. My biggest questions revolved around the narrative sandbox and all that. That was answered beautifully. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the question I'm going to ask now, and I'm going to ask that when we have these guys back after the gameplay reveal in the summer.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'm about it.
And so now you have to be here. I'm sorry. I hope that
That's
works
true.
for
You guys are committed to that. Sorry, that's how this works. I'm gonna do the interview cheat question. I know what these reveals and everything. My favorite parts about them are always seeing the behind the scenes, and I know that obviously there's so many things behind the scenes that you guys want to say when a reveal happens, because you're reading comments, you're watching streamers react to it, you're just seeing all this in real time. What is the like number one thing behind the scenes that you guys have said upon this reveal? Like, what is the thing that you want everyone else to know? Is it stuff you can't show yet? Is it, God, I can't wait till we can show them everything else? Or was there like one thing that really irked either of you in terms of the reveal that wasn't there, or a question or a comment or anything like that?
I just wanted to explain the time thing, honestly.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, we were itching to talk. I mean, even now we are itching to talk more about the game, like in general, like the questions you're asking. I would love to answer them. But for obviously, like we shouldn't yet. However, I would say regarding the announcement, I mean, the systems that we talked about with Ariana, I think these are very exciting, and I would love to like dive deeper into those when we can. I think these are very cool. For me personally, like when I joined the company, because we made a few of these big RPGs with like branching and so on, the features for this game are actually exciting, and the game structure is exciting to me because this is different from what I was doing before. And for me as a creator, of course, I'm looking for ways to challenge myself and do cool stuff that I haven't done before, right? So I would say these are definitely something I would really love to talk about at some point.
Got it. Okay, cool. So stay tuned. Summer is when you guys will be showing a lot more here this summer, 2025.
Yes.
You guys do have, just so I can get this out there, on Twitter, X, you guys can follow Dawnwalker Game. There's also the Rebel Wolves Devs account, and then both of you have your own personal accounts here. So if people want to throw questions at you or tag you guys in anything or any commentary like that, please do. I know you guys, that was one thing in the sound check you guys were very open to, is just having a community around the game and talking about it. And I think, coming on shows like this is a great first step for that. It's awesome that you guys were here. Anything else you guys want to say before we send you on your way?
Thank you for having us.
Fantastic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Talk
We
about
appreciate
the
the
game.
opportunity.
Yeah.
We appreciate the opportunity to talk more about these systems, and yeah, hopefully we've put some of your worries to rest,
Yeah.
at least a little bit.
I like it.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Oh, huge
And maybe-
thank you
maybe
guys
one-
for the time.
Thank
yeah,
you very
thank
much.
you. And maybe one last thing, like
Sure.
you said, like we are looking into like what people are saying. We are still developing the game, obviously. So we are still changing stuff around and like tweaking things. So we are very curious about opinions about like what you heard today, for example. We are listening to feedback gladly.
Cool.
2 quick things before you guys go. First of all, for anyone else interested in this project, they have been on fire across lots of different news outlets. There are interviews up. There are more shows like this. There's lots of great info out there. So lots of good stuff to sift through if you like. And second of all, what is the best way? You were just mentioning like you're looking for dev feedback. What's the best way for people to connect with this project? Is it the Discord?
I would say so. I mean,
okay.
we are checking out different channels, like sending like questions to like our X account as well, the Dawnwalker account, but also our dev accounts on our private accounts. Like I was checking what people were writing like to me. So these are the ones we are using right now. If we open up any new channels, I'm sure we will communicate through the channels we already have.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
Perfect.
I'm sure MJ's screaming at the screen. Dawnwalkergame.com has like all the social links. So just go to dawnwalkergame.com.
Dawnwalkergame.com.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's got
Yes.
everything there on the right-hand side.
Yes.
No TikTok though.
Oh, it's back. It's cool.
Let's not get into this.
We're gonna let you guys go. Thank
It's
you.
already back. It's already back.
It is back. It is unbanned. Yeah, they right before the show.
Is it?
started.
Is it already?
In the
Yeah,
US,
it's already
yeah.
unbanned.
Yeah,
Yep.
you can.
Oh,
I've
man.
already uninstalled Instagram again. We're
Hasn't
good.
even watched the video about it being banned yet.
Yeah, like it's all just like goodbye TikTok videos on.
Yeah.
That's all your feed is just goodbye.
It's just goodbye TikTok videos. Yeah.
Then it's gonna be hello. This is gonna be hello.
Yeah. Now
again.
we're back. Now we're back. Yeah. I have not tried Snap yet. We'll talk about it on the news. Thank
Anyway.
you both for joining us. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you guys. Really appreciate
It was
it.
fantastic having you on. Feel free to just disconnect from the call. We're going to swap over to this, and you guys will disappear into the ether. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, 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 bye. Fantastic. Let's continue on the show. I guess we can use this as a transition right into the TikTok, but it's not even a story. Like it's back.
Well, before we get into that, JP, I really wanted to make mention after they had gone about like you're like, hey, coming on shows like this is a really good first step, and I thought that was just like, yeah. Keep coming on shows like this.
It was very self-serving, but I 100%.
Are you
stand by that
listening, other
message.
devs? Come on down. We're a good jumping off place.
It's actually it's funny because this year started off, and we've had so many people reach out to us about coming on. So bring it on.
Yeah.
We'd love to talk to you more. Cole, you want to say something?
I was gonna be like, we're actually like the 3rd or 4th show, but it's cool, it's great, and I love it's good. No, they're actually to their like this is one of the things that I really like that is one of those unintentional silver linings to the very unfortunate state of the game dev industry that we've seen in the last few years is now you have companies like ex-CDPR devs, which let's be real, in 3 years ago, they would have been sequestered in their AAA towers and we never would have heard from them because they all would have been behind big names. But now we're seeing the talent that made some of our favorite games make like double to AAA studios. And these studios are more agile, they're more organic, they're coming on shows like ours and being super chill. Like the pre-part of this show, completely different than if we were to do something with like a major company.
Yeah.
Like everyone's more relaxed, everyone kind of knows their role better. Like there's no one kind of waiting to be managed like you get at a lot of like that more kind of professional thing. It's a different feel that is a lot better, in my opinion. Not only for us, but for all of us. Because like this level of more integration into the community that they're actually servicing is just, yeah. I think this could be a really good unintentional benefit of the collapse of AAA.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's simply just the conversation exists, right? There's not a gatekeeper. Like,
yeah,
and
more importantly, they seem to like there's not this disconnect
yeah
between the people making the game and the people playing the game. It's like we're all kind of in it together and a lot more now, which is a good feeling.
Yeah, it's cool.
Dude, back in the day, like we didn't like I didn't look into who made my games. I didn't even know mostly like publishers or developers of games. Like now I know like the people by name and the companies and their reputation and all kinds of shit. They're like real people. It's like when you meet a teacher after you've graduated, you're like, oh shit, you're a real person. You go out and get groceries and stuff. Holy crap.
Very
kind
true.
of, yeah. I mean, that's very true. It's humanizing the entire industry, and that's just going to be a win for everyone in a lot of ways. Because it got way too stoic and just sanitized, sterile. So it's kind of good to see it become a bit more, what it is now.
Absolutely.
Hopefully we'll see the trend continue.
I am trying to log into my Snap account to see if I think Snap is still banned, but TikTok is not. Funny enough. I don't know.
And
if
for the
that's
record,
same for
so
chat.
the TikTok thing, I don't think this is an unbanned situation. I think this is they've turned it back on for now. In agreement with our service providers, TikTok is in the process of restoring service. We thank Trump for providing the necessary clarity and assurance to our service providers. They will face no penalties, providing TikTok to over 170 million Americans and allowing over 7 million small businesses to thrive. It is a strong stand for the First Amendment and against arbitrary censorship. We will work with President Trump on a long-term solution that keeps TikTok in the United States. So there isn't a long-term solution yet, but they have turned it back on in lieu of that. I think this is that 90-day thing we were hearing about, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely comes across as like super performative, but whatever, I guess, without getting into the politics of it all, which is pretty impossible not to. I still can't log into Snap, so it seems like it's only TikTok that's been whatever that is. Which, according to the devs of Snap, was a complete surprise. According to their Twitter last night, they did not know that this was going to happen. So
what exactly did happen? Did they use some infrastructure that ByteDance uses or something?
They're the people that own Marvel Snap are owned by ByteDance. They're a subsidiary of it.
Oh,
and so there was also like 5 or 6 other.
Oh, that means like CapCut?
Yeah,
and like all the services went down too.
God, there's like 3
some magic thing, right?
4 other, 3 or 4 other games that are not.
I saw a list. There's like a half a dozen of them or something.
Yeah, I think Snap is the biggest, or at least the biggest in my world, right? Because I put hundreds of dollars into that game, and I don't have access to it right now, so that sucks. Hopefully they get that fixed. But like we were talking about, TikTok is back. I can now browse. Well, I can browse it at least for 90 days. Exactly everything that Cohh just said, which kind of makes everything that happened last night in terms of all the like goodbye forever and like very emotional post and all that kind of silly because I can just scroll it now. It was very funny though, because that was the first night. My TikTok habits are, before I go to bed, I doom scroll for about 30 to 40 minutes most nights, if not every night. And last night, I turned the TV off and I like rolled over and I was like, oh shit, what the hell am I gonna do? So I kind of just stared at my phone and was like, fuck it. I just went to sleep and I got like an extra hour of sleep. So hey.
I had never actually looked at it. I did the same thing where I like opened my phone to scroll. And what's the worst part was me is I have muscle memory. So I opened it and then was like, oh damn, that didn't work.
Oh God.
And then I opened it again. And
Dude.
then I went and did something else. Then I opened it again. So
Dude, yes.
Yeah. So basically I had to move the button off my home screen.
I almost did that too.
I installed Instagram because I was like, okay, they've got like Reels or something. Maybe that will, I just want to look at cooking things and cats. I'm sure
How was
I can
Reels,
find something
Cohh?
on here. So I opened it up and it wasn't TikTok. You had to do some weird thing to get to it. And I used it for about 5 minutes. And I was just like, this isn't the same, man.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
That's right.
It's just not the same.
That's right.
And then thankfully and that's about the time I just put it down, just like you did. I was just like, I went to Reddit. I just did Reddit or something.
Yeah.
Reddit and Twitter.
Yeah.
But then sure enough, they right before the show.
It was like 30 minutes before the show started.
I uninstalled that shit so fast, man. I think my phone is still smoking.
Yeah. Yep. Well, now I wonder if all the senators and whatnot that bought stock in Meta are gonna see the huge bump tomorrow Everything goes public.
Dude,
Now
I looked into
TikTok's
that a
not
little bit
bad.
last night. That shit is criminal.
Oh, 100%,
Like that is, and for those that don't know, like a portion of United States lawmakers own stock in Meta
yeah.
that are voting to shut down TikTok.
Dude, the guy,
And it's like,
the guy that proposed the bill that got TikTok
that's
removed
insane. It's insane.
bought like $100,000 of Meta stock like 2 weeks before or 3 weeks before it happened. Like it's all fucked up.
It's actually okay. I realize we're not talking about politics.
yeah,
Anyway,
we're-
video games.
Video games.
Video games.
Let's
Okay.
talk about them. What do we got in news? Oh, that's right. The Switch 2 was finally revealed.
Yeah,
But like nothing really was. We got like a video. That's
it was the
basically all
biggest
we got.
non-announcement ever. The only thing that me and many others are worried about is what's inside it, and that's the one thing they like had nothing to say.
Yeah.
I don't care about, like, until I know what's in it. I don't care. It's
Yeah.
just,
Yeah. I mean, the video does show, as it's about to show right now, the screen is a little bigger, the controllers are a little bigger, which as someone with large hands, I'm all for. That's
Yeah,
great. It's got, whatever this smoother edge is. This thing's a little worrisome. The little like prong that's sticking out of the edge. A lot of people are worried about that snapping. But yeah, this is all the video was just kind of a little hardware preview. Yeah, there are 2 USB-C ports now.
The snapping of the Joy-Cons is new, right?
Yes, yeah.
'Cause
Apparently
they used
those
to slide it. Now they just snap.
Yes, they used to slide in, and now they're magnetized. Apparently,
Right. Okay.
They have
That was a
they've got, like-
huge, obvious change that I don't know why they didn't do that with the original Switch.
Yeah.
Huh.
I also wonder about the little like blue thing around the nub, if that's to try and help with those things lasting a little bit longer, so like dust and
yeah,
whatnot
or maybe
doesn't
the
get in there.
drift.
Yeah. Well, the whole drift thing is, I mean, it's hilarious that they went with this, which is kind of like 2 controllers drifting away, kind of like a mouse. Apparently those things are going to be like mice. I don't know what that means.
They have a mouse optical
Yeah.
optical port or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
A mouse eye.
Weird.
Yeah. So I don't know what that's going to do.
Okay.
But I like the look of it. It looks like it's cool.
It looks like a Switch.
Yeah. It looks like a beefed up Switch. This was the quote unquote Mario Kart reveal. I don't know where it came from, if it was part of the video, but apparently it's 24-person Mario Kart now in the lobbies instead of, I think, 12, which is what it is in 8. Mario Kart 8.
Hold on, go back. It
What?
totally looks like the dude put his controller down and then a side just fell out by accident. Did I see that right? I only caught it out of the corner of my eye. It did. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it's just like
It goes
dunk,
click, then it goes.
Yeah.
dunk. Watch there be issues with the magnets not holding on enough.
Oh God. Yeah. Or
It's like
or
that
if-
garbage can
and then
that
it's
just
gonna be
won't
like-
stay shut. You're just like,
They tried to show us. They tried to tell us. Nobody listened.
Yeah. Yeah. This is the other
No, but
big thing in here.
This is pretty standard for Nintendo. Like, how big was the change from the Wii to the Wii U? I mean, it wasn't a huge change, right?
Yeah, it was, because the Wii U was actually like a Switch, like before it was like Switch.
Oh, it went to handheld. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
the
You're
Wii
right.
U didn't have the
You're
the controllers that could come off the side. It was just like the big brick.
What do
Right.
you think they
Okay.
mean by that asterisk? Do they
That
go
I
into
don't know.
anymore?
I
Certain,
think
okay, it says
yeah.
they
Read
play
what they
both.
say.
Nintendo Switch 2 plays both physical and digital Nintendo Switch games. Period. Certain Nintendo Switch games may not be supported on or fully compatible with Nintendo Switch 2.
That makes me think that if third-party developers don't want to do a little bit of work, then they're not going to work.
Oh.
But that might be reading into it. It might also just be like
Interesting. Okay.
like chat's saying right now, like Labo, which was the cardboard.
Labo and Ring Fit.
Yeah, it was the cardboard thing that
Mm.
they did for a while. But it's also, you got it like, it's Japan, so it might not mean anything. They're just doing it so they don't get in trouble, and they want to. I don't know. It could mean a lot of things. It could mean a lot of things. I think one of the reasons, and I saw a couple of, I think it was either Tom Moran or maybe Jason Schreier. The reason that they announced this so early without really showing anything is that third-party companies can now start saying like, oh yeah, that's going to be on Switch too. We're going to have this game on Switch too. And so that's why they did it now rather than wait till, by the way, I watched the European video and it said 2.4.2025. So for about 30 seconds, I was like, hey, that's so soon you got, and everyone's like, no, it's April. It's April.
But I'm going to be playing KCD too.
Yeah, it's gonna be April. So you're fine. You're gonna be playing KCD 2 in April?
No, in February.
Yeah, in February. This is in February, not April. Or sorry, this is in April, not February. Now I'm confusing myself. April is the direct.
He was making a joke about you confusing the date.
He's confusing me by making a joke.
Wait a second.
And now you're confusing you about making a joke.
I made a joke about you being confused about the date.
Joke.
Then you got confused about me being confused.
I made a joke about your joke, and now you're the joke. Anyways, that's the Nintendo Switch 2 thing. It's going to happen. Oh, yeah, and there's also this Nintendo Switch 2 experience, which is a series of hands-on events held around the world. Probably at different Nintendo stores is where all that stuff's going to be. Unless they do different kiosks and whatnot. But I don't know what experience you need to sell them on. Just give them a Switch 1 and be like, it's going to be like that, but better. I don't know what the experience is that you have to sell them on. There's no groundbreaking technology on any of it. I don't know.
I believe the experience is fulfilling
and they
marketing
kept that
budgets.
Stupid.
Maybe, yeah.
That stupid ass fucking square controller that you put the Joy-Cons on.
You don't like that?
Awful, dumb looking controller. God, it's so bad. And then I thought, why would they do that? And then, of course, a millisecond before my chat could say money, I was like, oh, money, because they're going to sell you the Pro controller. Duh.
Yes. That is very true. There will probably be a Pro controller. Although they could just say that the Pro no, they're not gonna make it backwards compatible. There's no way. They're gonna sell us a new one. You're right. You're right, Zeke. For some reason they will sell us a new controller. When we already put the Pro controller is what? $80? I think it's pretty expensive. Maybe 60? It's not, I know it's not cheap.
I haven't bought one in a while.
Yeah.
But yeah. I'm guessing controller. What's the standard for controllers now? I think it's 70 right now. Standard like this gen controllers.
I think the PS5 controllers are 80. I want to say the Xbox controllers are the cheapest, and unless you go with like the Elites and whatever the parallel is for PlayStation. The Edge, is it called the PlayStation Edge? I think is their like crazy expensive controller. That are both like $200. They're out there. So yeah, the DualSense Edge. Okay. Chat saying Nintendo's website is $69.99 at the moment for the Pro controller for the Switch one. But
I've calmed down in my old age. And the reason why I know that is because I don't know exactly how much a new controller costs.
It's true. It's true. I had a random clip
I haven't
of
broken
you.
one in so long. Jesus.
I had a random clip of you. I don't know why it popped up, but it is relatable to the new Mario Kart. It was when you were playing with Gassy on Fucked Up Friday, and you decided to take the Fuck Knuckle, which was your hardware destroying tool of choice, which you may still have. Yeah, and you destroyed a monitor live on air. You just straight up smashed the monitor multiple times in a drunken rage. It was great. I gotta say.
I don't know if it was drunken.
Well, you could still say that and go with that. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's your.
No, I was a totally different person back then. How many years ago was that? 20?
7. I think it was actually 7.
Okay. Still a completely different person.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was a lot.
I don't even have a place for smashing things anymore. I used to have a place to do it.
I
used
there's
to have
some,
a whole table I would smash things on.
there is some phrasing going on right here.
It's
that
true. I was gonna make the joke as well, but let's just leave it. Let's just leave it and move forward.
Oh no, I have a table to smash things on. I know what you're saying, but I meant peripherals like controllers and mice and keyboards, stuff like that.
Got it. What else has happened in the news the past week? PlayStation has apparently canceled 2 more live service games from subsidiaries Bend and Bluepoint. Bloomberg.com did the reporting on this. I think one of these was a God of War game as a service.
Wait, Bluepoint.
Yeah.
What did Bluepoint? Bluepoint made
Demon Souls, didn't they?
It was Demon Souls. That was Bluepoint?
Yeah.
That was really good.
Yeah.
They canceled their next thing?
Yeah, because it was a game as a service thing. I think it's actually a quote unquote good thing. Were they the ones that were working on the God of War stuff? I'm reading
Bluepoint
through
did the Shadow of the Colossus and Demon Souls.
Yeah. They had great remasters, remakes, whatever you want to call them.
Live service is bad. No, live service in the iterations that the AAA was trying to shove down our throats are bad. Live service is an MMO, man.
Yeah.
I mean, live service by itself is nothing. It's what AAA turned it into. They turned it into a cash grab. Mm-hmm. That's why live services suck these days. But like the idea of like a live service that's good can be great if it's supported well and done well. And
Rivals is great right now. It's probably
I wouldn't go that. Okay.
Rival, dude, you're not gonna say Rivals is bad. No fucking way. Rivals is great right now. They're killing it. Path of Exile 2, great as well. They just had
Helldivers 2, absolutely. There's lots of games that do it right, and when they do it right, it's fun and it's cool, and everyone kind of wins.
Yeah. I'm trying to see. Wait, is
Space Marine 2 in a little ways, but not really quite much.
Yeah, a little bit with their multiplayer stuff they were trying. Oh, I didn't realize that Jason Schreier left Twitter. I was trying to get updates on this.
Oh, he left Twitter?
Yeah, he only updates his Blue Sky.
Yeah,
because he's the one I think that
Blue Sky.
I don't either. I think he was the one that worked this. Yeah, he reported that it was a live service game, live service God of War game that Bluepoint was working on, that is no longer being worked on. And then Bend is the studio that did Days Gone, and it did not say what they were working on. So who knows what game as a service got canned there. But all of this kind of stems from the former Sony executive who no longer is there with this whole like game as a service initiative. And so I think with Concord, and I think I did see reporting that this all happened because of Concord's failure. They didn't want to have another, what was the rumored budget? Like $200 million failure or whatever that game cost.
Can you imagine if you were one of the, I'd argue, majority at Sony who care nothing about games that are just in it for the money? And, and you saw something like Concord happen? It's like, you literally give them millions of dollars to do this one thing. And they not only didn't do that one thing, they failed spectacularly. Like, biggest failure we've ever seen. Like, oh God, I can only imagine what the internals of Sony are like these days.
Yeah.
Just eggshells everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Jason Schreier goes on to, and this is important as well, so that's why I'm saying it. PlayStation did not say whether the cancellations will lead to layoffs, but did say the studios will not close. A spokesperson for PlayStation tells Bloomberg the company is working with Bend and Bluepoint to determine their next projects. So that does kind of suck, though. If you're working on those games as a developer and you show up one day and it's like, yeah, we're done. Stop it. We're moving on to another thing.
And what's the reason that we're going to just be shuttering the work that you've been working on for the last months to years? Oh, climate.
Yeah.
The gaming climate.
Yeah.
No real reason. Just we didn't want to anymore.
Yeah. Definitely Definitely a shitty way to go. Somewhat similar, but very, very nuanced differences here. The Dragon Age Veilguard game director has left Bioware. They confirmed the departure following an 18-year career at EA. This was Corinne Boucher. I don't know how to say their last name. It's Busche. They left the studio for a new post elsewhere after being offered an opportunity to build a fresh RPG she, quote, couldn't turn down, end quote. At the heart of it, this was about my own fulfillment, she told Eurogamer. I did what I set out to do at BioWare, that is to come in and help right the ship. I love Dragon Age and I love BioWare, so the chance to return to the game to a proper quality single-player RPG was the privilege of a lifetime. It was hard-fought, as games with such tumultuous dev cycles rarely end up shipping, and even more rarely turn out great. We, as a team, did it, and it was hard, and it took a toll on me. BioWare still has a lot to work to do culturally, but I do believe they are on the right footing now. And then as for me, my own departure was voluntary, as I've been presented with an opportunity I couldn't turn down. I don't want to say too much more right now, but you can count on being in the CRPG space and upholding the traditions of great characters.
Wait, what was that last part?
You can count on it being in the CRPG space.
Oh, no.
And upholding the traditions of great characters. Jeff Grubb was the one that initially reported on this.
I thought she was going off to work on like the next Life is Strange or something, which would fit her perfectly after playing DAV. And that's not a slight. Like, I was actually talking, because I've been asked a lot about this. Like, what do you think of this person leaving BioWare? And what I think is, I think that's freaking awesome. I think that her game directing is one that as a aging nerd, I do not like. I do not like her young adult approach. I do not like her casualness. I do not like her bringing in current day things into my fantasy settings. I don't like the fact that she just ignored all the hard stuff from the previous games to make the game more palatable. Like, there's so many things that I just strongly did not like her decision on, that I'm thrilled to see her leave. That being said, obviously a lot of people like DAV. We obviously make games some people want to play. Like, I hope she finds a game that's more in tune with what she is good at, what she can provide. And she'll win, her fans will win. I won't have to play her games, I'll win. Like, it's great. So that's a little concerning to hear that she got pulled to a dream project and it's a CRPG.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, she didn't say. She said it was an opportunity she, quote, couldn't turn down. There was no mention of a dream project.
An opportunity that she couldn't turn down.
Yeah.
And the last line was she's going to keep working in CRPGs.
No, you can count on it being in the CRPG space and upholding the traditions of great characters. So.
She may be going to work for Larian.
Maybe, yeah. I did not know this, but alongside her work on the Veilguard, she also served as designer and design director within publisher EA for 18 years, working on numerous entries in the Sims series, including The Sims 3, The Sims 4, and The Sims Mobile. And now, Eurogamer goes on to say, post-Dragon Age of Veilguard, the bulk of BioWare is now turning its full attention to the next Mass Effect game, which is being led by a separate small team of veterans. So, yeah, that's where she's headed. What else do we have in the news?
By the way, guys, good time to mention, looking at chat, make very, very sure to separate the art from the artist in this kind of case. Like, that's what I'm doing. I'm not a fan of her products. I'm not a fan of, but I'm not in any way insulting her, and none of us should be. Like, if anything, you know, let's wish her success in what she makes and where she goes. But like, keep the personal attacks out of it, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I harbor no ill will to her, and no one else should. She's doing her job. It's whatever.
Well, there goes my color commentary. Fuck.
Sorry, Zeke. I should have let you go first. I'll do that next time.
I guess I'm not going to say anything for the next 5 minutes. All right, so go ahead.
All right.
This is kind of an interesting quote. I don't know what prompted it, though. Where is this just like a January news article? Because there's nothing else going on. The article headline is Fallout and RPG veteran Josh Sawyer says most players don't want games, quote, 6 times bigger than Skyrim or 8 times bigger than The Witcher 3. But I don't know where this came from.
I will argue that the industry trend is that people want shorter, smaller games.
Yes.
That's it doesn't mean there aren't people like us that want huge games, but the trend industry-wise is people want more bite-sized, I can actually see myself beating this game type of games. And games like that are 50 plus hours, a lot of people just won't play because they're so long.
Yeah. Oh, so he did.
That's real.
He did Q&A on his YouTube channel, is where this came from. In Sawyer's view, GamesRadar.com is the one who had this article. In Sawyer's view, it doesn't matter whether players actually finish games they start as long as they enjoy the time they spend in those games. He pointed to RPG classics Skyrim and The Witcher 3 as examples of sprawling games that many players don't finish but still hold in high regard. Quote, some players really need to finish the game, but I would say most players, including myself, I'm not that concerned with finishing games. If I get very deep into them, I get 80% of the way through them, then I really want to see it through. But if I have an enjoyable experience out of it, I don't need to finish it. That's not that important. Yeah.
There's also something to be said about like, there's many different, like if you're playing a narrative heavy game, you're going to want to know the ending. If you're playing a game like Skyrim, well, let's be real, you don't really care too much about what's going on in the main story. It's not exactly hard to put that down whenever and just do your own thing and make your own story. So yeah, different situations for sure.
Yeah. He was also kind of speaking about scope and size of games. He goes on to say, quote, games got bigger and bigger and it became more and more impressive. And then at a certain point, one, supporting the volume of stuff, there's a quality dip. We're not employing 8 times the number of contractors, area designers and artists. And so things start to feel less unique and bespoke.
And this is why most of us are scared about AI.
Yeah.
Like this is the shit. Like, yeah, sure, we can get bigger games with AI, but it's just going to be vacuous, soulless things to check off in a list, to do, like content.
Yeah.
It's not going to have any soul. So
he finishes and says,
the exact same thing.
I don't think we need to go bigger anymore. We can kind of chill out. Within a small margin, we can make it a little bigger, a little smaller. Again, as long as the player feels like when they come out in the world that they have a big, vast space to explore, and that is a fun experience and it doesn't feel repetitive and like a grind, I think that's good. I don't mind making big games like that. I think that's fun. I have fun in those worlds, and I think a lot of players do too. So that was all on his YouTube channel, which is... Wait. God damn it, Games Radar. They said over on his YouTube channel, and then the word YouTube is hyperlinked, but it just goes to Games Radar's YouTube. Not to his channel. And then they have a timestamped version, which is Joshua Sawyer, just on YouTube. So he's got like 37,000 subs if you guys want to see that Q&A. Microsoft made some more layoffs across several divisions, including gaming. That was earlier this week. Spokesperson from the company reported that the layoffs were small in number, but did not confirm a figure. That is kind of how the week started off. What else is there? First Descendant apparently has lost 96% of its player base in the past 6 months, which I don't really have too many thoughts on. I didn't play it that long, but it seems if people aren't sticking around in the game, then it's something to do with the game. I don't know. I didn't play too much of that. Did either of you? That was kind of like the Destiny-ish Warframe.
Which one was this?
The First Descendant.
Oh, no, the boob one. That was Boob Frame.
Yeah. Definitely. It had some great assets, Cohh, as we say in the industry.
It also had some great asses.
Yeah.
No, seriously, it was just a Warframe farming game ripoff thing. I think at one point GaaS said it was getting pay to winny with the way it was going. I mean, it's just...
There were some issues with it. I do remember.
Gooner Frame.
Gooner Frame, yeah.
Gooner Frame.
I do remember there were some issues that a lot of people were pretty outspoken with. Not a direct...
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Hold on.
Go ahead.
Somebody in chat did say there's absolutely no pay to win in it. Okay, that's good. I don't play it and I don't know much about it, so I appreciate the okay. There's no pay to win. Just a whole bunch of butts.
Great. Not necessarily a video game dev, but to say that his presence was not influencing anyone in the medium is just an outright lie. David Lynch passed away this past week. Without him, games like Alan Wake would never exist. Pretty much anything in that world would never exist. So very sad that happened. How old was he? He was
78.
I think he was in his 70s. Yeah.
Also, real quick before we move on,
Yeah.
can I just say how much I appreciate Zinzerk saying, no, First Descendant is actually paid to Goon. Thank you. That's a good one. And second of all, Ithra says, yeah, First Descendant was really tough to play with one hand. That's a good point. And one, really, they should have considered that when thinking about their product and its audience.
It's true. It's true. Man, what a topic change. Yes, he was 78, by the way.
Like that, we weaved that together. That was good. That was good. David would be proud, I'm sure.
David would be proud of that narrative, without question.
Surprised him at the end. Huh? Yeah, there you go. Look at that.
Oh man.
Perfect.
Yeah, for sure.
No, I loved it. I mean, David Lynch was always hit and miss with me. It's very, very like I loved Dune. I've watched Dune many times.
His Dune was weird as shit.
Blue Velvet was a weird, fucking awesome, cool flick that I can't watch a lot because it's a weird flick.
Yeah.
But when I watched it, I loved it. Twin Peaks, obviously. But like stuff like Eraserhead, I'm just like, man, that missed me hard. I did not do that. No, thank you.
Yeah.
And there's other, among other things. But like, yeah, when he hits great.
I didn't even think about it. The Velvet Room in Persona is a direct David Lynch reference. I didn't even realize that.
Elephant Man, another great one. Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, 78 years old. R.I.P. Old Mr. Lynch. What else is out? Brought up Rivals. This is one of those things where I'm a little bit worried about it. But to talk about it again, Marvel Rivals devs promised a new hero every month and a half to, quote, keep everyone excited. I don't know. I mean, they're going to have to do some things. I don't know how the fuck you balance that. Like, that's so many characters. But maybe they just make it so the new character is always broken. There is no balance. It's not like they have a massive esport to worry about balance in. And I'm also down for always having new heroes. So maybe it's not the worst thing. I think that is a lot of people quoted that's kind of the review or the release time for like gacha games, like Genshin and all that stuff kind of have a 45-day cycle as well for new characters. So pretty cool. Regardless, we get to see more people in the game, although a lot of those have already leaked so far. But yeah, we'll see how they balance it all. That's my biggest worry. What else do we have?
I'm thinking about jumping into WoW.
Oh,
What? I'm sorry, what?
I mean,
Do
heard
you
there's
mean World of
openings.
Warcraft? Oh, God.
well, as
I had to say something. That was just a stupid joke. I had to get it out. We can move on now. I just had to get it out. I thought it was funny.
Cohh is our foremost Roach expert here. Why don't you talk to everyone about the past week?
Run!
Oh my God. He saw a roach and he had to get out of the room. You know, it happens. It happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Sorry, there's nothing I can do.
welcome back from
What was your next piece of news there, JP?
welcome back from his 7-minute stunt right there away from the computer. Welcome back. I'm glad. How was your 7-minute stunt there, Cohh? Was it good?
The whole situation is so ridiculous, man. It's like, oh my God, I can't like that. I've been on Twitch a long time, almost 12 years now. I have never seen something that was so nothing
Yeah.
get turned into something that was so actually something.
Yeah.
Like this, oh my God. It's amazing to me. It is amazing to me.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It's a little, for people that have absolutely no idea what we're talking about, we're not gonna, great. We're excited for you. Let's keep it that way.
Good for you, yeah.
Good for you. We're not
And
gonna dive
we can
into-
probably just leave it at that.
Yeah,
let's
no,
just-
we don't need to
let's
say
just move on.
anything. We'll just
Okay,
move on.
right.
You're really not missing anything. You can just go with, is
The good news is at this point, like the big stuff is done, but the effects of this could be forever for the people involved. And it's
potentially
because of what they did, to put it bluntly. Like it's not like it, but
or did
the main stuff's done. The main stuff is done. So thankfully, that's one of the reasons we can kind of joke about it, because thankfully that part's over. But there are things that have come from it and clips that will never go away ever.
Yeah, the memes will
And
stay.
that's just how it is.
The
For those
memes will
wondering
stay.
what it is, just go look at live stream fails and
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
see you could see yours truly here, who had the top spot on LSF.
That was
was-
hilarious. The most innocuous, just
the
like,
most
it
minor,
was
like
even, it was even more tame than the joke I just made.
I make
And he
jokes
was
like
just,
that
broke the front page.
all the time. I've done that like 50 times for Asmongold. Like I just make jokes like that all the time. Like it's my lord, dude.
It is really funny.
That just shows you though, like if anything, that's not a commentary on my clip. That's a comment on the situation.
Yeah,
That's a comment on how incendiary that situation became.
well, the comments in that were also hilarious. People were like going back and like watching 9 hour. Someone watched a 9-hour League video where Strippin and I were duoing in League because I made an offhanded comment about the whole subject.
Yeah.
They're like, I gotta find it. I gotta see what it said.
no, same thing happened
Let's
for
see what
like
he said.
somebody was like, I think Cohh said something about this during one of his Kingdom Come streams, and then some guy was like, yeah, I think it was like on this week, and then some dude's like, oh yeah, here it is, 2.5 hours in this VOD, and I was like, okay.
Meanwhile, over on my channel, I'm flaming people left and right, and I can't even break into LFS or live stream.
Well, it's because you
fails.
don't know the
LSF.
name of it. You call it LFS. That's how it.
Yeah.
that's
I
how it's
guess
fine,
so.
man.
I guess that's probably right. Yeah.
Honestly, JP, we should probably just cancel him at this point. Like,
We should. That should be the
Yeah.
top thread. Drop Frames co-host doesn't know what LSF is. Yeah, that's true.
and then the first comment was like, who are all these old people, and why
Yeah.
why is
Who are
this
all these
thread
old people?
here?
Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly.
hey, fun fact. Oh, I logged this to tell you. When I was in New York, I went to visit a buddy of mine who does comedy shows. And they're like, it's a cool concept. It's like pop-up comedy. It's called Don't Tell Comedy, where they do shows wherever you want. They're like, do you have a space for us to do this stand-up comedy show? We'll do it in your library. We'll do it in your living room. We'll do it in your shoe shop. And it had just so happened that I went to a show in a like vintage shoes. Like they had old Jordans and like old like fashionable clothes, vintage stuff like from 20 years ago. God. Anyways, they did the show there, but before the show, I helped set up because I was there with my friend, and then we put out the chairs, put up the mic, put up the speakers, and one of the comics there was like, "Oh, what do you do?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm on Twitch. I do video game streaming and stuff like that." And he goes, "Oh man, I do this." We got to talking, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't watch a lot, but like, there's this streamer I watch. When I do watch, I watch this guy named Cohh Carnage," and I'm like.
I see that guy got my
Okay.
$5. Hell yeah, dude.
First of all, no, it's just some rando that I had never met before. He's a great comic, but he was just like, we actually started bonding because he had a Mystery Science Theater tattoo on his calf. He had the shadows of them like looking up at the screen.
Love
And I was
it,
like,
man.
"Oh, Mystery Science Theater," and we started talking. He's like, "Yeah, I watch Twitch every once in a while. I watch Cohh," and I'm like, "He's my friend," and I also stream, and you know me now in person. Maybe you come watch my stream because you do comedy, I do comedy. We're comedy buddies. But I just thought that it was a funny little anecdote. Like, oh, you don't know me, but you know him. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I love it.
I'll be third banana all my life. That's fine.
If you still have contact with him and you want to give me his username on Twitch, I'll give him a year sub. That's awesome.
There you go.
Okay, I will.
Give him
He's very active. Oh, the another tie-in. Him and his wife are both stand-ups, and they are very active on TikTok. And they were very sad when I saw them.
Oh, I bet.
Like, part of a big chunk of our living, like, is going away.
Yeah.
And they were just like, I guess we're gonna have to just do more stand-up and like try and get out somehow. But now that I was a little bit happy that it came back because of them, because I was like, oh god, they get their living back. Great.
What was it? There was a thread going around. I want to say it was last night or the night before, and it was somebody that was posting like the stats of TikTok shutting down, and one of them said that there like 70,000 small businesses worth of income is getting turned off overnight.
Yeah.
From people who had successful channels that lived in America on TikTok. Yeah. And that's insane to think about. 70,000, like, I'm living off this groups of people. Like, just, that's wild. That's wild. I feel like that kind of thing should be illegal. Like, to not give like a period of time to let people move or something. Like, that just doesn't seem right, dude.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem right.
Yeah. Wasn't it something?
By the way, I see like Tolwyn says, those poor content creators. I get it. But just keep in mind, there are families, mothers, dads, who their content is parenting videos, cooking videos, wholesome ass stuff. And they're doing that to support their family and put food on the table. So yeah, that's cute and everything that you want to be like, oh, gamers, blah, blah. No. They're actual like families that are supporting themselves on TikTok. Don't forget that. Like they had a year notice. We didn't all know this was going to happen. It was up in the air until the end. Yeah. Still, it's still up in the air. We still don't know what's going to happen.
I mean, while it doesn't impact the three of us that severely, that's also like, man, those poor content creators. And then you're watching 3 content creators.
Yes. Well, and also it's important to mention. It's very important to mention, and not a lot of people know this.
What the fuck?
It is not easy to become big on other platforms, especially if you aren't really big on the platform you're going from. So all these people who are like, they had a year, dude, a lot of the TikTok creators are not going to be able to go anywhere else. It's like they could diversify all they want for multiple years and they just don't get any traction on other platforms. That's totally normal.
Yeah.
So yes, there are people that will not be able to survive without TikTok. They will have to get a new job or a new thing and their content won't work on other platforms. It's just the reality of how it is.
Yeah.
So it sucks. Yeah, it sucks. Anyway,
yep.
I tell you, I am surprised how many people are like still just 100% anti that. Like, that's wild.
Oh, well, I suppose. Hate watchers in some form. Anyways, what else do we got in the news? Shuhei Yoshida, who's a former executive at PlayStation, went on the Kind of Funny Game podcast and had a bunch of different stuff to say that a bunch of different articles made headlines out of. What's that, Cohh?
We know TikTok's back up, for the record.
Yeah.
It happened at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, exactly.
We're aware.
One of those is that he had has a theory on why PlayStation hasn't done anything with Bloodborne. And it's essentially that Miyazaki-san's too busy. He goes on to say, quote, Miyazaki-san really, really loved Bloodborne, what he created. So I think he's interested, but he's so successful and he's so busy, he cannot do it himself, and he doesn't want anyone else to touch it. Yoshida therefore believes that PlayStation's team is simply respecting Miyazaki's wish and doing just that, not touching it. So I guess, somewhat of a sound theory that if anyone would know, it would be a former PlayStation executive. But he went on to say that he was not ever in that part of the business. And he wanted to kind of distance himself as far away as that being the exact reason. But I get it. If maybe Miyazaki doesn't want anyone making a bad Bloodborne. If like Blue Point, for example, the folk that remastered it, that remastered Demon's Souls. I was
going to say, if anyone he could trust it with, it would be Blue Point, you would think.
Yeah.
I mean, they kicked ass on the Demon's Souls port.
Yeah.
Like 1-to-1 almost. If anything, it's kind of wild that we don't have a Bloodborne remake and we have a company like Blue Point.
Yeah.
Or like even to a lesser extent, like Bloober Team, right? That did Silent Hill.
Sure. They've got a lot of, drama things on the internet attached to them, so there would probably be pushback on that.
Sure.
But yeah. He also went on to say that, and this is one of those things that I think a lot of people know, but it's different to hear like a former executive say it. They quote, cancel so many games. And he went in to explain that the canceling of all these games was, quote, was done to, quote, save the devs, citing that a lot of people get too attached to stuff and can't let it go. Which, I guess that makes sense, right? If something's not working or something's not clicking and they can't like solve whatever it is they're trying to solve, sometimes you got to like get them out of that. He said, quote, you have to convince.
There's a project that's,
go ahead.
That like one or two people, if there's a project like one or two people on the team of like 20 or whatever, really, really like, man, you just gotta keep going with, it's going to be a great thing.
Yeah.
You know, there's got to be someone in there going like, you know, putting the heavy hand on the shoulder and being like, it's not going to happen, dude.
Yeah. He says, we tend to work with, quote, we tend to work with people who have very strong ideas. We love these people, so trying to change or stop their project is so hard. It's all about talent in this industry. I've tried to help them as much as I could. While this might sound harsh or cruel, Yoshida says he has to, quote, convince studios and developers to move or stop in order to, quote, save these devs from getting, quote, stuck on projects or games that just aren't working out. I guess that is kind of the role of an executive in some ways, is to be like, hey, fucking let's move on.
I mean, dude, that's like Riot.
Yeah.
I mean, Riot has one product for like every 10 actual in production products that fail.
Right.
So like in products they put resources into, not necessarily in production. That's a specific term, but they try all sorts of stuff before we see something like Valorant. Like they had a sea of canceled projects.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
I did also like this quote. He says, the industry keeps growing and growing, and I hope it keeps supporting and chasing creative ideas and people who try to work on new things. You don't want to see the top 10 games every year being almost the same, all games becoming service games, quote, ... That would be a bit boring for me. Yeah, I agree with that. What else do we have in news? I saw Warhammer Space Marine 2 sold 6 million copies, or they crossed the 6 million sold.
Awesome.
Mark, which is fantastic. Wish all the best to that team. Chat, am I missing anything? Yeah, I mean, there is Twitch rivals drama, but for like Twitch heads or people that have been on the platform, right, for a long time, that's not news. That's every Twitch rivals event. They don't necessarily have the best track record with that event. There's countless issues that you could go back over the years about all of that stuff. Also, we're not going to talk about the Elon Musk PoE drama.
Nope.
I think that's...
That shit is fucking hilarious.
I mean, I'll say this. It's fucking wild that Asmongold was like...
Yeah.
That is like a wild reality that we live in. That... that whole thing's just crazy to me. And that's all I have to say about it. It's just fucking crazy. The whole thing is absurd. I don't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole though, apart from what I just said.
I already said my piece.
Yeah.
On this stuff. But
okay.
The TLDR, I'll say exactly what I've said in the past.
Okay.
And that is, I read a tweet by somebody and it made me think that not only is Elon like this, but honestly, a lot of people are like this. And what the tweet said, this is not my words. He said, Elon told me about electric cars and he sounded smart and I was impressed. Elon told me about spaceships and he sounded smart and I was impressed. Elon bought Twitter and started talking about code. But I code for a living. And I immediately knew he's a complete dumbass. And now that I know that, I went back and looked at the other stuff he said and educated myself about some of that. And it turns out he's just a giant dumbass. And I remember seeing that tweet and being like, that's kind of interesting. And then I see this well-made Quinn video on why Elon has no idea what he's
Hold on,
talking about.
Can
in
you say that
PoE2.
again?
I know.
Hold on, say
I know.
that. Say
I
that
said those words in order, and it's
say
weird.
that sentence one more time for me.
You know what? No, it's already recorded once for posterity. I'm not saying it again.
Okay.
But the point is that he made a video detailing like all the things Elon clearly did not know that he was trying to pass off as knowing in the PoE2 video. And at the end of that video, we go back to that tweet. It's kind of like, oh, here's another example of him trying to pass off stuff he doesn't actually know about as knowing about it. So I think some of us are starting to see a trend.
Yeah.
We're starting to see a trend. And what's interesting is multiple people in the public space kind of have this vibe right now, where it's like they say a lot that they seem to know a lot about, but then you really look into it and they don't. So it's a thing. And that's kind of all I've said about it and kind of all I'm going to say about it. Like, this is one of those perfect situations where it's kind of like the world is full of bullshit. And sometimes being able to sort through it is one of the most important skills you can have.
True.
Aren't they teaching that shit in certain like schools in different countries, like how to parse real shit from fake shit on the internet?
Yeah. Oh, fake news and yeah, absolutely, dude.
Yeah.
They are already in schools trying to teach the difference between AI and real imagery. They are teaching children how to tell the difference between AI and real images. I'm doing that with my kids every day, a little bit. Anytime I see a believable AI image, I show my kids, and I point out why it's not real, and I show them what makes it AI.
Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff. I'm horrified about the world they're going to grow up in.
Sure.
The amount, like the sheer amount of information that's going to be available that is just wrong or fake. Like, it's not an issue. Like, there becomes a critical mass point when the overwhelming amount of wrong information is just going to start bleeding into like real information, and that's going to become very scary.
Yeah.
Yep.
I saw, I mean,
Yep.
not, I guess I will. Did y'all see the drama over that movie, The Brutalist, which is on track to like win movie of the year and stuff like that, where it actually has, they basically they use generative AI to replicate two of the actors' voices and also create some of the architecture in the film itself. And all of that is like starting to leak out. So people are a little bit like, what the fuck, man? Like, why the fuck didn't you say this? You know, I think it already won a Golden Globe for Picture of the Year. So, yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah, Deadeye in chat just said a buddy of mine's a police officer, and he says deepfakes are coming up more and more and more in fraud cases.
God,
dude, fraud
That's
departments
a-
are about
holy
to become a
shit.
whole new thing.
yeah, that's crazy. That's
There's going to
absolutely
be like
crazy.
police stations, and then fraud stations, and then fire stations.
God, yeah, it's gonna have to be its own department. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
We'll call it the Department of Governmental Critical Thinking.
What crypto does that acronym for? So I can buy it.
I know,
I need
right?
I need to
Now,
buy
which
that
which
crypto.
part of the blockchain is that on? Is that
I need to
Solana?
invest real quick.
yeah?
No, isn't it it's a sad world where you have to tell like children and, you know, tell them like, don't believe anything right away, ever.
Oh,
Don't trust anybody ever until, you know, they've proven that you can trust them.
Old people are more susceptible to AI than children. I'll say that right now. Like, you think
Yeah,
that
that
like kids at least will like believe what you tell them, but the problem is when older people see AI, they think they're right, and so they will argue that what they're seeing is right when it obviously isn't. That is going to be honestly worse than younger, because they have that years of experience. They have that years of like, oh, of course I know what I'm talking about. So, oh, that's going to be a thing. It already is a thing.
It already is a thing. Yeah.
Already is a thing.
Anyways, now that we've taken a journey onto that hellscape, let's talk about video games and move past it all. Me and
Let's forget all about
yeah,
that.
let's forget all about it. Cohh and I,
Escapism.
Cohh and I have actually escaped to 2 new worlds this week, and Zeke stuck in CD-ROM-a-thon land. So we got some stuff to talk about. Cohh, I did not pin you is someone that would ever rant and rave about a Dynasty Warriors game.
Pursue Lubu.
Yeah,
I know.
You and Lubu. I
know,
did not think about it.
I am as surprised as you are. I unfortunately tried to pick up Metaphor again and put it back down.
Yeah.
And it was too much reading, man. It was too much reading.
Sure.
Like, I was enjoying the game. I was not enjoying having to read. Like that's the best way I can put it.
Yeah.
But so I wanted to go something that was a little more, I finished up KCD as well. All done with KCD now. So I wanted So I kept getting people asking me, "Are you gonna play this game? Are you gonna play this game?" And I kept saying, "I have no plans. I don't know." And then I looked into it a little bit and I was like, "Oh, this looks like it could be kind of fun." And I've never really played a Dynasty Warrior games. I've done like little visits here and there. I've never done a full playthrough of one. So I didn't even really know what the game was about. I played it for one session, and by the time I was done with it, I was like, "Oh, this is just dumb fun. Like this is just like over the top power fantasy. Like everything works. It runs well. There's a full progression system. The maps are different. Like there's lots of different weapon types. There's combos. It's just a fun game. It's just a fun game. The little overland map is pretty cool. It's fully voice acted. You barely have to do any reading, just a little bit before each mission. And yeah, I am super enjoying it. I just got to the part, spoilers. I just got to the part in the game where you pick your dynasty. I know. Big spoilers there. But it's, and I think I know who I'm going to go with, but I'm still kind of figuring it out. But yeah, I'm going to be playing it more tomorrow. I played it for like the last 4 or 5 days, and it is a very fun game.
What is,
just to be specific here, this is the Origins, right? The
Dynasty Warrior Origins, which I think is like a soft reboot or something. I'm not entirely sure.
I think it is. I think it is a reboot.
Yeah.
I also want to state, I tried this game because it has a free demo. That is a bad demo. I bounced off of it really hard, and it's not because the game is bad. It's because it throws you into like several missions ahead, and there's very little tutorialization about it. And so like I just got into the mission and I was just, what the fuck is oh man, I'm doing some cool, I lost. And it's like, oh man, I'm doing some really, I need to, okay. I got it. I lost.
That's a bit of a
it just needs to be more gradual. And so everything I was told is that the base game, the full game, is much more gradual when it comes to all of that stuff. But I could totally get down with like just the combat stuff. It was very flashy, very kind of mindless. Is exactly what you said. And it was great.
And what's super cool is like to the point of the game, and I'm at now, it's basically like when you get into the big fights, it's just pure cinema. Like you charge in, there's these huge, like actual predetermined charge in events where all of your guys will line up and wait for you. And then when you walk over and get behind them, you then get this like cinematic, the camera zooms in like charge kind of thing.
Nice.
And then at this point, I have so many skills and random stuff. Like by the time I'm fighting, I always have some kind of cinematic thing up. So I'm just like basically going through them and getting perfect parries, which are cinema. And then there's like fatality animations and like it's, so and then of course there's like,
do you get to choose those skills, or is that dependent on, like, is there a skill tree? Because I didn't interact with any of that. What is that process?
Every weapon type, there's a group of general skills that can be used on any weapon, and then every weapon has its own weapon skills that you unlock as you use them and get better with them. You can also buy them and get them from quest rewards. You can then slot those into 4 different skills you can use on you. You also have a battalion later that you can control, so you can have them like fire arrows, charge forward, and stuff like that. Yeah. So on top of that, there's also like Musu, I think I'm pronouncing that wrong. Musu.
I think that's right.
M-O-S-O-U. Yeah, Musu skills, which are like these big things you can chain your skills with other people. There's the full parry system. And then each weapon also has its own little like differences. I'm using these dual halberds now, which can like knock the enemy up and then do a bunch of smashy stuff in the air, which is really fun. But there's other weapon types that kind of play completely differently as well. So you can kind of mix and match between them. And then what's also cool is while all this is going on, the enemies are doing their things. The whole fight is doing their things. And then there's these kind of grand strategy things that can happen too, where like your side or their side will have like little events that you have to do. And if you don't do them, or if you do them in your case, you get like big cinematic explosions and charges and morale switch changes. And yeah, it's very, very cinema. It's designed to have the experience be very fun to look at and very, cool to be in.
Yeah. I think this is a me problem because I had played, we'll talk about the game that I played right before I played this in the same session. But did you change the keybind? Are you using a controller by chance? Or are you using keyboard and mouse?
I'm using controller.
Okay. For me, when you push in on the left stick, it mounts you. I had the worst fucking time. Just
I
like
frequently do that by accident.
it's
We were
just
talking
I'm in
about that today, actually.
yeah, fighting in this cool fight, and then it's like, and I'm on a horse. It happened so much that I would probably, that would be the thing that I would rebind right out of the gate. If you're prone to push in on that stick, like I am. Because in a lot of games, that's how you sprint, and I was hoping it would be the same. But I guess it makes sense that they would use that as the horse call in this particular game. But totally a me issue, and not something that I think is widespread. So, any idea how long this game is? Like, how much actual like missions there are? Or
I am not sure. I can tell you, I've been playing it. I think I've been streaming it as of today. Like, I have 16-hour playtime on here, and I just got to the point where you pick your side. So.
Okay.
I mean, granted, I've been doing a lot of side stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Chat's saying like 30-ish hours for the first one, but
okay.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. What you mentioned you had to choose your kingdom. What does that actually mean? What is
There's 3 main sides.
Does that just change the narrative?
I don't know. I haven't picked yet.
Got it. Yeah, I didn't know like what gameplay wise how that impacts it. We'll check in with you.
Go with red team. That's all I'm saying. Go with red team. Red team is always the best choice.
Blue team was the best choice in 3 houses.
I'm probably going green, but thank you both.
Okay. All right. He's going. He chose the wrong one.
Sorry.
I
need the bro. I need the bromance. You'll understand.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a lot of green teams in the chat. You always go green. Woo equals red. Shu equals green. Wei equals blue. So you're Shu. Your team Shu.
Okay. Team Shu.
The Wushu clan.
Oh, I will say.
Wu-Tang.
I don't know who
Wushu
made
clan.
this decision, but I will say it's kind of amazing that every single person in Dynasty Warrior Origins is an actual supermodel. And like, I don't mean a little bit. I mean, like, even the scars are beautiful.
I think it's always been like that.
Man, it is wild. Like, everyone is just majestic. And they keep saying things that I'm fully convinced that whoever localized it did not do, like, by accident. Like, at one point, this guy named Dong Juan is talking about himself, and he's just like, "Oh, I see you're going to try to devour Dong." And I was like, dude, you don't.
Hell yeah, you are.
You don't say no. That's not like you knew what you were doing. You knew what you were doing. Like, you can't not.
When other warriors fall, Dong stands strong in your path.
And there's all sorts of weird stuff. Like, this guy like wanders up to you and he's like, "Hey, I think I saw my soulmate at the last battle." And he's like looking at you and you're 2 guys and you're just like, "What?" And then he's like, "That man with the flowing locks you were fighting besides, you need to introduce me to him. I think he's my soulmate." And I'm just like, "Well, you 2 are gorgeous. I mean, sure, I guess."
Yeah,
like,
why not?
Okay. But yeah, that was a little, and then at one point, this like the whole everything is very surface level. And then there's this girl, and you're just kind of like hanging out at the end of the mission. And she's like, "Well, anyway, I think I'm going to go unless you'd like me to stay the night with you." And she kind of smiles at you. And then it goes to you. And I was like, "Oh, hell yeah. Where's my yet?" And then the option was like, "What do you think of the battle tomorrow? Have a good night." And I was like, what is this? Like, why would she say?
So I'm coming at this from an extremely ignorant angle. Is this all Chinese myth? Is this Chinese history? Like what
I believe it's romanticized Chinese history.
Okay.
So it is stuff that happened that they're taking some liberties with.
Got it.
And that obviously you pick a side and stuff. So it's not exact history. But it is a blueprint of actual history and actual people, names, and places. And then some fun on top of that.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I wasn't because the series has been around for so long, but the series in so many ways has been pigeonholed as to like, oh, that's a Muso game. It's a shit ton of people on the screen at once, and they're doing wild attacks, and you're doing that over and over and over and over. But for whatever reason, I think this one goes a little bit further than that, and also looks really good. Like it actually is a pretty cool presentation on the whole thing, and so it's grabbing a lot more interest this time around. But I had never
My
played
question is, can you get by with button mashing, or do you have to learn the shit?
I think it all is button mashing. Is it not, Cohh?
No, it's not button mashing. Like, I mean, you can button mash, yes, but there's a lot of timing as well. There's like timing and parries. There's timing on making sure that you get your attacks like going kind of where you want them to. There's windows that you need to exploit. But I'm playing on the hardest difficulty.
Okay.
And I died twice due to not really understanding what mission I'm supposed to be doing. You could play this easy and probably just mash yourself through it and have a good old time. And I will say, even when I'm doing the timing stuff, like 60+% of it's still just mashing.
Okay.
Yep.
More of a question for chat. Is this the game that I think he's canceled to oblivion now, but isn't this the game that Gerard tried to like 100% and it took forever? Once upon a time, or am I thinking of the wrong series?
Completionist?
Yeah. I think he
haven't
came
heard
on
that
the
name in a long
show
time.
and he talked about it. That was, it was the Zelda Hyrule Warriors. Okay. It was the Zelda Muso or whatever. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, Chet, that completionist.
Yeah.
He's not around anymore.
4 or 5 years ago, on the show. Anyways, Dynasty Warriors Origins out now on, I think it's on like all consoles, PlayStation, PC, which does also have a demo if you just want to see how it runs. But you really do need to read those tutorials in great length, or else you'll just get into the fight and lose immediately. Because you have to pay attention.
So you're saying you can't mash through the demo?
I played it on hardest difficulty and I was not able to mash through the demo. At least without failing. There is this cool mechanic that when you fail, or when you die, or when you fail a level, I don't know what the actual terminology is. You can like play back a battle and it'll have certain checkpoints. And so you can reload everything at a certain checkpoint and then play from there. Now that checkpoint might be bad in the sense that no matter what you do, you're going to lose because you just can't reach a certain objective in the amount of time that you need. But it is nice because you don't have to redo the whole battle most of the time, from what I found. And I don't know if that's a new addition to this or if that's always been there, but I did like that. I didn't have to replay the whole thing, just certain aspects of it and do different things, which is cool.
Yep. Use that feature extensively the first time I realized that I have to keep specific people alive. Whoops.
Yes. Yeah, there are fail states, and that's what happened in the demo. People would die and it would fail.
Yep. The tutorial does a good job of it, which unfortunately you didn't get to play, but it does teach you like exactly how to know who you need to protect and how to see where they are and stuff like that. So it gets a lot easier.
Yeah. I think also it's worth Cohh giving an explanation to Lubu and why you should always avoid and or
always
chase
pursue
Lubu.
him.
Always pursue
Lubu.
What does Lubu do? Talk to me about Lubu.
I will tell you the voodoo that Lubu do.
Okay.
So the voodoo that Lubu do when he do his Lubu is basically voodoo that Lubu do to destroy anyone in front of him. Like he's basically canonically like never loses a fight.
Okay.
Like he does any, and I don't know if you play him in other Dynasty Warriors, but he is the honcho. He does lose battles because, people that he is fighting with kind of suck, but he is like the Superman of the world in some ways. He's the final boss, if you will. And he may actually be, I don't know. But he is like, anytime you see him, and you do, slight spoilers, but you do see him in the game, he is just on a completely different level. Completely different level. Like every move he does is unblockable, giant, just literally mows down anyone in front of him. There's a whole mission where the entire point of the mission is just to run from him. He's kind of a thing. He's a force of nature is the best way to say it.
I'll ask the question that everybody's wondering. The question is, do Lubu and Dong ever get together and have a great time?
Lubu slays Dong.
Whoa.
In my experience, Lubu always helps Dong.
No.
Man, this is historical fiction writ large.
Yeah, apparently their relationship was too rough.
I see. What type of weapon does Lubu use?
A giant pole.
Hell yeah.
with a pointy tip.
Hell yeah, he does. All right. And that's Dragon Age. Or
I'm
not
sorry.
Dragon Age. Dynasty Warriors
The-
Fortunes.
The best part about everything that just happened was JP's. Hell yeah, he does. Hell yeah, he does.
You're goddamn
No, but
right.
yeah, he's actually a complete badass. Like he's got like these giant bunny ear things, and he always carries a giant pole arm, and he's bigger than everyone else. I mean, he really is like he's a big guy. He's a big guy. Yep.
Awesome. Zeke, how's CD-ROM-a-thon going? What's been popping up on the votes the past week?
Well. I have my pile of games that have been played thus far.
Okay.
And we've had gems such as The Chronicles of Riddick, Escape from Butcher Bay,
Ooh, good one.
Okay.
CSI, Dark Motives, played that one.
Okay.
Played a little bit of Fallout 2, which I will say, because this is, I mean, everybody knows Fallout. So I will say that making the choice that everybody was like, make him a dummy. I was like, okay, let's make him a dummy. So I made my character, or make her actually, I made her a dummy. And man, it was fun for a few hours. But then it fucking like almost hard locks you out of so many things in the game that I was just like, I got to like hour 5 of playing. I'm like, man, this is not fun anymore because I have nowhere else to go because I'm like,
Yes.
and they're like, we don't understand you, idiot. Get out of here. I'm like, wait a minute. That's the quest though. That's the person. What do I do? And they're like, well, I guess your only course of action is to become a slaver. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. And they're like, that's all you got. So I was like, all right, I guess I'll do that for a while. I did that for a while. And then I was like, can I bust this guy out of prison? But it came out like, get this guy, go, Vtuber. And they're like, dummy, go away. Go away, stupid. And I was like, this is not fun anymore. It was fun. Don't get me wrong. It might be fun for like a third playthrough or something like that. But for the first playthrough, don't do that. And it really soured my first, because I started over, like I had an hour and a half left of the stream. And I'm like, I am not having fun with this character anymore because it locks you out of so much shit. So I remade another character with I used a pre-made character with some tweaks. And then I started playing and I was like, man, this is way more fun. And now I'm tired because I've been playing for 8 hours. So like, I just stopped. And I'm like, I'm going to have to revisit this at some point. And maybe it's going to be like Morrowind where maybe I revisit this with a bunch of mods, you know, a bunch of like new fangledy upgrade mods and shit like that, not off the disc. So like, not during CD-ROM-a-thon, but sometime in the year, maybe. Because it seems like it'd be a fun game if I didn't pick the biggest idiot to play.
Yeah.
So funny thing about Fallout. Fallout has characteristically something called an all kill route. And what that means is that you can literally just kill every single enemy you need to beat the game. And what that does is it gives the devs a lot of freedom, because that means that you don't have to necessarily rely on everything working as it needs to, because there's always a failback state. There's always, if things fail, just loot whatever you need to and keep going. From what I heard years and years ago, the dumb route was a joke initially because the fail state was there and they were like, yeah, let's just make this like completely ridiculous mode where it's like, it doesn't matter if it goes wrong because you can always just do an all kill and you're going to be done with better stats anyway. So like if you don't do all kill, I don't even know if you can do a full dummy. Like I'm not like it's really restrictive. I remember trying one back in the day and kind of like you, like it's funny for a while, but then you just get to the point where you're trying to do stuff and the only thing you can do is kill things to move on because you like exhaust all your options and you know piss enough people off. But it's to this day one of the coolest, most creative ways to like just to have that in the game is so cool. It's so to have all the NPCs.
No, it was amazing how many
crazy.
like specific interactions you have with people, like going back over it with someone who has above average intelligence or whatever, going back over it and seeing like how the interactions go with a normal intelligence person rather than a big dummy was like huge. The difference was huge, but the fact that they put it in there and they made everything interactable, and to top it all off, which I thought was a fucking hilarious, brilliant choice, was if you meet another dum-dum, you talk like erudite, like aristocrats to each other. It's fucking hilarious. But they'll give you like the cow dead, and then it'll be like, sir, I've noticed that the Brahmin in your field have been struck by some sort of weapon, and then it'll explain the dum-dum talk, and it's great. It's really fun. Yeah.
Love it.
But I would not suggest for a first playthrough because that was rough.
Yeah.
But I could see the potential. I could see like why people like this game. Absolutely. No question.
Yep.
It does have like, obviously has some old on it, like quality of life shit. It's definitely a CRPG in that, like it's point, click, walk.
That's a product of its
The
time,
screens-
right? Like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's also one of the first in its existence. So none of that no one else was doing this stuff, right? They're the originators. in a
Exactly.
lot of ways,
Exactly. Yeah. No, I could definitely see myself having fun with it, but I would love it to be more modern day QOL for me to enjoy it, you know?
Yeah. Makes sense.
I also played, let's see, where did I leave off? Yep, I also played Dracula 2, The Last Sanctuary,
Okay.
which was good. Dracula, it's Eurojank is what people usually put on it. It's I think it's a French company who made this, but I played through the first Dracula, and it was fun. This one, less fun, more bullshit. Like, it's a first-person point and click.
Actually,
So
looks pretty good.
there was definite moments that it was pixel hunty, and I fucking hate that because you're going around like I'm stupid. I'm not getting this. I don't understand how to progress. And it's like, no, you just didn't see that fucking button from a shirt that was in the corner of a room to progress the game. It has those moments, and I fucking hate those moments because you're sitting there going like, I don't know how to do this. And it's like, no, you're missing an item that you just didn't see. You're like, fuck. However, I did have fun with it for the day that I played it. It has the fucking like old school like 3D graphics, with like, you know, the motions are like this.
Is this running native?
I'll kill you. I'm Dracula. I will tear your heart out. Don't bother coming to find me. All right, I'm leaving now.
That's how it goes. I mean, that's
Like,
how
it has
Dracula
that
is.
shit.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Is
I
this
love
running
that shit.
native, Zeke? Like Cohh also remarked, it looks very good. Like,
Looks pretty good.
Did you use
Yeah.
like
It does.
a mod or anything?
Nope.
Weird.
No, some of these games are really surprising in how good they look for their time. Where you see the old is in the motion.
Sure.
Like when things are animated. Like some of the graphics are really great, but
Yeah.
like when you try to make those things move and in tandem with each other, that's where you see like, oh, this is from the late 90s.
Sure. Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So Dracula 2. What else?
Dracula 2.
I saw you did another Leisure Shoot Larry. It seems like that's more Leisure Shoot Larry.
Leisure Suit Larry is like, I don't think I've ever had a bad time playing, and I played like 4 or 5 of them all the way through now. I've never had a bad time playing Leisure Suit Larry game.
Yeah.
They are very light on point and click moon logic bullshit. Or like, you know, they're pretty good about putting the shit like that you need to find and pick up. They're putting it like highlighting it, putting it in your field of vision, making it stand out from the background. I mean, if that makes sense, like the background's like painted and then you'll see like something that's obviously animated. So you can pick it up and put it in your inventory, do that kind of stuff. So like I've never had a bad time. And I played Leisure Suit Larry 5, and it was a lot of references. If you didn't know, Leisure Suit Larry went 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. It skipped 4 because Al Lowe said, there will the rumor. There's a ton of rumors about why there's no Leisure Suit Larry 4. And one of them is Al Lowe, the creator and director of these games, said there will never, after the first 3, there will never be a Leisure Suit Larry 4. And he stuck to his word. He skipped 4 and made 5. And then he made 6 and so on and so forth.
Makes sense.
So like, yeah, he like made a workaround, which was, I think, was very clever. But in the game Leisure Suit Larry 5, they make tons of references to a game that never was made for. It's like, oh yeah, you remember from Leisure Suit Larry 4, this thing that happened, blah, blah, blah. And they just make this shit up because it never actually happened. So they're like, you remember that, don't you? I'm like, of course I do. I played 4. Everybody played 4. So it's like this little tongue-in-cheek joke as the Larry games are known for.
Sure.
But there's also very much like, the lovable loser, Larry Laffer, who never gets laid and stuff. There's some mud wrestling stuff, and there's like, all kinds of, quasi-sexual stuff that happens in it without actually ever happening. Like nothing really ever happens. Larry doesn't
it's wild.
Like there's only been like, I think 2 of the Larry games, maybe 3, where Larry actually gets laid. And it's like not shown. It's just kind of talked about a little bit.
Yeah. Old Larry.
But yeah, it was great. Leisure Suit Larry games are fucking, they're fun as shit. And it only takes you a handful of hours, 6-7 hours, maybe to beat one.
Yeah.
I also played Myst Revelation, Myst 4 Revelation. And it's appropriately titled. I'll tell you this, it's appropriately titled. Because I'll tell you, I had a revelation while playing Myst. I played through Myst, Riven, and Myst 3 all on stream. I played all the way through them. I even played the Riven remake that happened recently. And I came to the realization that while fun to look at, I really don't care for these games. I really don't like them very much. Like the visuals, the sounds, the dialogue, all great. Writing, all great. But the gameplay of the games, I don't like them. It's just, it's eye-rolling bullshit after eye-rolling bullshit in every Myst game I've ever played. And I'm like, man, and I was playing through, it's like, why don't I like this? And then I came to the realization, like, I've never liked it.
Fair enough. Hey.
Yeah.
Apparently Myst is just a vibe, man, and you're not into it.
No, I would be glad. I would gladly watch someone else play this. I don't want to.
Okay. There you go.
So that, what else? I played Hell. I have 2 left. I played Hell, a cyberpunk thriller, which is from 1994.
I think I played that
game. By one of Take-Two Interactive's first games, early games.
Really?
It stars Dennis Hopper, Stephanie Seymour, Grace Jones, and Jeffrey Holder. I don't know who the last one is, but I know the first
Hopper?
3.
What the hell?
That's him right there.
Really?
He voices that guy. He voices that guy right there on screen. His name in the game, he's a demon, and his name is Mr. Beautiful.
Okay.
And it lasted a day. It was fun for a day, but it's also like, it got pretty slow and a little boring. And a lot of it didn't make a bunch of sense. Like, it just takes place in a world where hell is just another place. That just like, one of the plot points of the game is that like, there's a place in hell that is reserved for 2 warring mobs, like the cartel and the Italian mafia. They put 2 of their people in hell as like guarantees that we will have these negotiations, or those 2 that are in hell will die. I know.
Huh.
It's fucking weird.
Okay.
So they take 2 of their capos, basically, and put them in hell while they negotiate above hell. And the reason why they're down there, and they're just sitting there playing cards. All they're doing is playing cards, waiting for the negotiations. Like, well, this is guaranteed. Like, the reason why they put them down there is because, they'll kill them if it guarantees negotiations will go well, or else they both die, and they're important people in their respective groups. But They are the worst, most stereotypical voices of any fucking characters in any game I have ever played. You go up to the Italian mafia guy and he's like, I'm playing cards. And I'm not even exaggerating. I'm playing cards with this guy over here. And I'm going to throw an ace, Maron. And the other guy's like, I'm not going to do a Colombian accent, but you can imagine how like a stereotypical person, like Colombian accent, bad. It's that. And you're just like, what the fuck? So it's another one of those games that was fun for an hour or for a few hours. And I'm like, I get it. I'm good.
Okay.
So yeah, that was hell, a cyberpunk thriller.
Great.
And the last game I played was actually working. When it worked great, but it's called Oni.
Yeah, this was the first Bungie game.
Yeah, it's Bungie, man. That's like the actual Bungie.
It wasn't their first Bungie game.
No, it was not their first game. Their very first game was Marathon. Or Pathways into Darkness, actually, was their very first game. And then Marathon, the Marathon 2 Durin Down, Myth of Fallen Lords, and then Oni.
This was the first Bungie game I played.
Bungie was my jam back in the day. Yeah. I loved Bungie. This game is super cool and way ahead of its time, too.
Very much so. And I will agree that, okay. Last part of the stream, I said, okay, I'm going to play it how it probably should look. This is the end of the stream. Officially, this is the end of the day CD-ROM-a-thon stream because I'm going to play this game with no disc because I want to see how it looks because to get this fucking thing running was it was the hardest game to get running this year so far because it is in the dead zone, the shit zone of CD-ROMs, and the shit zone of CD-ROMs is after 95 and before 2002, 3-ish.
Okay.
Give or take. And this was a 2001. Yeah, 2001 game, which means guess what OS it runs best on and was designed for?
95?
3?
98. Windows 98.
Oh,
98.
Okay. Thought it was gonna be
if it was designed for 95, 95 is far more reliable. It goes Windows XP most reliable as far as old OSs go. Windows XP most reliable.
Love XP.
Windows 95
I'd still be using it if I
second
could.
Most reliable. 98 is the least reliable because 98 needed so many things because it was the middle child. It was in between so many like advancements and like 95 ran shit that was designed for 95 and it did it all right. Windows 98 was like on the verge of doing XP shit, but not quite there. So you have to get like Screen Doctor. You have to download that program. You have to add Voodoo. You have to do all this shit just to get any fucking 98 game to run correctly. And we did. We got it to run. Not well. Frame rate was still kind of shitty, and the screen tear was really bad. So like we tried a bunch of fixes. We finally got it to a state where I was like, okay, I'm ready to play it now. I'll play it imperfectly. It's not perfect. So I played it for a little bit and then I went, okay, this is where the stream ends. For the last hour and 45 minutes, I'm just going to say this is not a part of CD-ROM-a-thon because I'm going to play the Abandonware cracked version. Yeah. So I played that. Boy, it's a great fun game. Holy shit. It's actually really good. It's a fun action game. And when it runs smoothly, it's a real treat to play, and it's a completely different game. Because when I played it on Windows 98 emulator, it was like so choppy that I like to aim the gun was fucking RNG nightmare. But like so I was like doing melee with everything. Then when I played it on a smooth system, I was like, oh shit, I can just blap, 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 just blasting everybody. However, I'm glad I did the first play on the old system because the melee combat system, pretty fucking cool and satisfying. Very like wrestler, like professional wrestling inspired. You do like flips and like you do that scissor grab of a neck and you turn around and flip them over. That thing. You do that. You do like backbreakers and shit. It's great. Sorry, I'm rambling on, but like
no,
it's actually a great game when it runs right.
Yeah, you play a cop it's like a futuristic cop, right? Is that the premise to Oni?
Sort of.
Yes, you play oh god, there's an acronym for it, but you're it's very much like that movie with Christian Bale where he's like a cleric or whatever.
Graham-a-thon cleric. You're
Equilibrium?
talking about Equilibrium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Equilibrium.
It's a little bit like that. There's an overarching like government that watches everybody, and you're kind of involved with that sort of. It takes a bit like you can see the influences in when you're in the game. It takes some bits from Akira, takes some from that. It takes from Ghost in the Shell. Like it has definite influences.
Are those anime?
Yes. Those are animes.
All right.
That you have to have seen Akira and Ghost in the Shell.
No, I don't watch anime.
JP.
Oh,
Zeke,
I don't watch
Zeke,
anime, and I've dipped my toe.
Zeke, try to keep up with JP.
What? I'm hoping he's joking, but sometimes, like my wife, I can't tell.
He's a weeb, dude. He breathes Akira.
I'm not a
He's a game weeb, though. Those are different from media weebs. Like
you kidding me? When he gets when he goes to the bathroom, he Akira slides to the toilet.
What is an Akira slide?
That's exactly right, and he knows he does. Stop it.
I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is.
He's sitting there on the toilet pushing like Canada.
That was actually
Anyway, yeah, you're part of the TCTF, the Technology Crimes Task Force. That's all, Canada.
Oh man, that broke me.
We lost the plot anyways. Oh, good.
See, at first I thought Zeke was also being another joke, and then I was like, wait a second. That was awesome.
Man.
I love that so much. But I think
I mean it's actually really great, and apparently it's abandonware. So if you can probably find it if you want to like play it on the sly, you can probably get there's ways to do it.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you can buy it anymore anywhere. Like there's no like remake or it's not on GOG.
It's not supported or anything. Yeah, it's gone.
I think it's in like it's in abandonware hell. Like
you should have called me. I think I still have my
know who owns it anymore.
I still got my discs somewhere. I'm pretty sure I could have sent it to you.
Yeah.
Next time.
I
Wait.
Blair Witch. I played a little bit of Blair Witch.
That being said, if you ever want Pathways into Darkness or Marathons, they're older games. I might be able to help you out with the physical medium.
Send it along, baby.
Yeah, I think I actually have those somewhere. I'll have to look.
That's something I don't think I mentioned enough. Is that almost 100%? Like I buy it here and there. Once, like when I have my eye on a game, I'll buy it. But like almost 99% of the games that I play on CD-ROM-a-thon are all just gifts. People sending me to my UPS box. So if you got any games you want to see on CD-ROM-a-thon, my UPS box is on my channel. Check it out.
Awesome.
It's good they're doing that because
Go
ahead.
Go.
I was gonna say it's good they're doing that because I mean these days some of the prices of these games is insane. Like some of these games are hundreds and hundreds of dollars for physical copies, which is what Zeke needs. So like it's super cool people are doing that. Yeah.
And now Zeke, go. What were we gonna say?
Yeah.
Now I was just gonna change tax to I picked up a new now I know you're not him, but I would love you because I know you can get him a message, JP. I'm talking to the puzzler.
Oh, yeah. Okay. He lives in St. Louis still. He didn't come with me to Texas, unfortunately. He's still in St. Louis.
We'll get him a message. Because get a message to the puzzler because there's a new Q game. Q2 Humanity.
Okay.
Remember that game where you would draw the lines and like make the seesaw like whatever that shit? They made a new game. This time you have like little characters you control within the game. You still draw lines and do physics puzzles and shit like that. But you get there's a slew of characters that you get with different powers.
Huh.
And it really adds a cool element to the game where one of the characters you get is called the Thrower. and he can basically throw shit a long way, like way longer than anybody else.
Nice.
There's
so it adds like
I
logic.
don't remember the lifter.
Yeah, it's different
Yeah,
logic
the lifter or
stuff,
something like that, and you can like make a huge like dense boulder, and she's the only one who can lift it because that's her power.
Nice.
And you unlock more of these as you go through the game, and it gave me the same like satisfaction that the previous Q game gave me.
Does it
So,
still have like
tell the
1,000
puzzler-
puzzles or whatever in it?
Well, there's a jillion.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, it's actually
that's a
not
lot.
as many. It's not as many, but it's I mean a lot. Like I have 23 hours into it,
Oh, damn.
and my last metal collection set I've done 33%
Damn. Okay.
of the puzzles.
Yeah. There's a lot then. Cool. I didn't know that they had another one. Fun stuff. I would definitely have to let from brute force, right? Not from Ezekiel the Third, from brute force.
Right, exactly. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay. All right. What have I been playing? I'm still me and Strippin still playing League, still playing Marvel Rival. I'm in a great place, but also a dark place because most of my days are about 8 hours of League of Legends ranked with a 30-minute break for dinner, and then I do about 6 hours of Rivals, and then I go to sleep. That's been my life for about a week. It's going pretty well. Yeah, you know, I'm not. It's help. It's good. You know, I'm liking it. I did get off that path for a little bit.
I'm real sorry, man.
Got off that path for a little bit.
Do I need to call Max
What?
and do I
Max-
need to get
Max
on the phone with
can't
Max?
help. He doesn't talk to me anymore.
Do what's the check called? Like a safety check?
Might be a safety check. Yeah.
No, chat. Sometimes when you're in the hole, you can't tell you're in the hole.
Welfare
That's
check,
What
that's
that's
what it
what
is.
we're seeing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, when you're in the throes of an episode, then
Yeah.
it's really hard to know you're in the episode.
That's
Don't
right.
worry though. He'll figure it out as he comes out of it. That's cool.
Wait, are you talking about me?
What?
Anyways, I played the first Berserker Khazan. They put a demo out for this.
Hmm.
I went in not expecting that much.
Oh, I'm playing this tomorrow.
Yeah, this game's awesome. It is. What was that? Do you remember Code Vein?
I do.
Do you remember how Code Vein was like kind of cool, but then they had some really weird bullshit going on in the game, and you kind of just wanted like a more
Yes.
normal Souls experience?
that
That's
what
what
this
this is.
Oh, great. Okay, great.
It's
No,
great.
when I got, for me, Code Vein broke down when I got to Anime Lando, and I was just like, this is everything I don't
Anime
like.
Lando. What do you mean, like the
Oh, dude.
city or something?
They basically put on Orlando from Dark Souls in Code Vein.
I thought
but
you
it's-
said.
No,
I thought you
Oh,
said
no,
Anime
no.
Lando, and I was like,
I did. Yeah,
I heard Lando
Anime
too,
Lando.
and I'm like,
okay, I see what you're saying. This is
Yeah,
a play
there we go.
on.
See that.
Okay,
There we
very
go.
smart.
And
very
we
smart.
made it. Okay. But so yeah, that's what killed it for me. When I realized that like the level design and stuff was just terrible. Like I got to that point and I was just like, you know what? I'm done.
Got it.
Like this is not. But this looks cool.
Yes,
Like this looks fun.
it's great. It very much. I got a lot of like live. I don't know what
did you
happened.
shut off the stream?
Yeah, I don't know what happened right there. I came back though. This is my first time playing the game right here. I started it brand new for the first time. It's very much Lies of P in vibe.
Ooh.
Like there's parrying is obviously very good, and there's stamina. You see like that gray bar, you can like break their
Poise.
poise. Yeah, a lot. Chat was also saying it's very Neo-like because all the gear, like it drops gray gear, and then there's like blue gear, and then there's set bonuses of all that stuff.
Oh,
I
I was not aware this was like Neo.
Yeah, there's also an entire skill set, and each weapon type has skill sets. So this is like dual wielding. You get a massive sword, you get a spear. I think there's like maybe one or two other weapons. I think there's claws later on. It wasn't in the demo. It has your normal like, boss experience a la Dark Souls where you got the health bar at the top. This is just like a harder mob, as it were. It's the first time you kind of meet these type of guys.
It's a normal mob.
This is like it's not a boss, but it's just like
Elite.
a elite mob. Yeah.
And he is
like a red eye guy
Wow.
from like Souls games.
Yeah. This fight is basically teaching you how to break the gray bar, so you can do that charge up move if you time it properly, and that'll do a huge chunk of his poise. It
Jeez,
just
he is
takes me a while.
chunking you.
Yeah, once you kind of like figure out the rhythm, the game wasn't that difficult, but it definitely took some time to like figure out the rhythm. It's very anime, without question. You play like story-wise, the premise is that you're a general who, like a great war general, who for whatever reason the emperor like sends you to death, and they cut your tendons out in your hands, so you can no
What?
longer wield weapons. And then a god takes you over, or like takes over your body, and that's where the game starts. But yeah, they just like casually mentioned, yeah, my punishment was they ripped out the tendons in my arms. You're like, what the fuck?
That is egregiously metal.
Yeah, it's very metal. It's very metal.
Wait, so is he covered in cuts and
He's covered in blood.
blood and
Yeah.
Is that from whatever they did to him, or is
Yes.
why?
Yeah, this is the very start. I can skip ahead in the
Oh,
bottom
God.
a bit.
Ugh.
He's got like, now he's got like anime armor on. He looks like an
Yeah.
anime character. I got a big
nice
ass sword.
ponytail, bro.
Yeah, I got a big ponytail. Let me see if I can find like a boss encounter. just so you can
Man,
see.
I like how this is a big slow weapon, but it looks like it doesn't feel like you're big and slow. Like you're still kind of zipping around with your dodges and stuff.
I felt pretty slow. Like that charge attack definitely felt pretty slow for me.
I just mean like your movement. It doesn't feel sluggish. when
Sure.
you're moving around.
Yeah,
and
you're
the
pretty
dodges seem
agile.
nice and tight.
You're pretty agile. Here's a little bit of a boss fight, just so you can see kind of how it all works. They definitely do a lot of damage. But it's kind of the idea where it's like you'll do your chunks of damage when you break their poise bar, because then you can do like the big attack, and that'll do massive amounts of damage. First boss, and I think I'm already hitting for like 10,000 or something, which it's one of those games where numbers kind of don't mean that much. I would assume in some of the videos, some people are saying there's like 300,000 hits. So I guess numbers just fucking get crazy later on. But I had a great time with it. I'm very much looking for the demo. Sold me on the game.
How long did the demo take you?
It's about, let me look on my Steam. It took me, oh wait, did it go away because I deleted it? God damn it. How long did I play it for here? Played it,
Oh, chat saying like 2 to 3 hours?
I played it, yeah. It's about 2 to 3 hours of the demo. Yeah.
Cool.
It
cool.
ended, and I was definitely like, oh, is it going to end here? Oh, damn it. I want to play more.
The best worst feeling.
Yeah, it ended at that moment. So I think you'll probably enjoy it. It's cool. I'm definitely going to check
There's
it out.
this one,
on
and then
release.
what I was planning on trying after this one is, have you guys tried that Tyrant Souls-like? I saw like Lyric and Ella were playing it today.
No, what
You
is
guys-
Tyrant? I don't know what that is.
I wonder if any of them are playing it anymore. It's called Tyrant something. It's another Souls-like. Looks more indie.
Tyrant's Realm? No.
Maybe. Is that it? Tyrant's Realm?
That's
Yeah,
what chat's
Tyrant's
saying,
Realm.
Tyrant's
It
Realm.
just got released. Yep,
I guess I
2025.
haven't tried it. Okay.
It is.
Apparently that just came out. It looked, I was lurking in them a little bit. It looks kind of like a very indie Souls-like.
Yeah. It's only 10, or it's
But I don't know if it's like,
$8.50 right now on Steam.
I don't know if it's good or like good or bad way that way.
Yeah.
And apparently it's a roguelike.
Oh yeah, it says action roguelike.
Oh. Explore procedurally generated dark fantasy worlds, battling through dangers that evolve with each run. Death is not the end, as the night is still young. 162 reviews at very positive. Oh,
I mean, it's only $8. Like,
yeah, that's kind of
and
cool.
It's got a demo.
I
as
definitely
well.
thought it was a Souls-like, though. It is not a Souls-like, so yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
It's procedurally generated, so I think it's going to turn off a lot of people right on the bat.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know. Looks cool. It'll be fun.
Yeah, the people in chat are asking. I was playing the first Berserker Khazan. Not the greatest name, I know. It's from the what is the series? Is it DNA? It's from an ongoing IP. And DFO? DNF. Dungeon Fighter Online. It's from that series. This is apparently like a character from that series, I guess, and they're telling the story of it. I guess Dungeon Fighter Online is Nexon's flagship IP. They tout 800 million players worldwide. That's kind of crazy.
So many.
That's so many players. Yeah. And then I finally started Indiana Jones, and you guys were right. That game's really good. The game's fantastic. I finished, or I'm close to finishing the first, like the Vatican. Having a blast in that. You guys, I felt like when you guys talked about it at length, you never talked about how just like stupid that game can be in all the best ways. That game can be really stupid when it comes to the fighting and the slapstick comedy that can just occur out of nowhere. That's maybe the main selling point of the game for me. You just walk up, you can just like a guy's just sleeping in his chair like this, and you could just walk up and punch
I saw that clip. Yeah, you just punched him through the chair.
It's great. I have a fantastic time with it. And I haven't
it's got a good sense of humor.
I haven't met the bad guy yet. The Hugo guy.
Voss.
Voss that you guys touted. So I think I'm going to meet him pretty soon. He just showed up in like his big blimp. So I would assume once I go and meet him, I'll be on it.
He is
so
good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. He also, can we say that what you told me, Cohh, after our Game of the Year show a while back, or should we save that?
Maybe until you're done.
Okay.
All right. If it's what I'm thinking, you're thinking.
Well, no, yes. Yeah. It actually would make sense if I wait till I'm finished, before that occurs. Yeah. Cool. That's that. I need to ask, cause I haven't asked, are you guys both here next week? What's the plan? There's not much happening, so we could take the week off, but I might try to put a show together just cause. I don't know what it would be about though, cause there's no games this week.
So yeah, there's not much going on next week. And then the week after that is like that is dawn of the final day kind of stuff.
Yeah. There's no big releases really till February.
Yeah.
But
that's Rebirth on PC, so a lot for you.
You know, I don't know if I'm going to play it right away. We'll see.
I hear you.
I'll let you guys know.
I didn't actually get a chance to ask you how last week went with the VTubers. I'm sad I missed that.
It's great. They would love to come back. So if you want to do another show, Zeke with the VTubers, we can invite them on, or get other VTubers as well. They also recommended a ton of different VTubers to chat with. So I had a blast. It was one of those things where like, I think I know about the stigma that VTubers have on the internet, right? Because it's hard to like not know that, especially given the space that I work in. But it's another thing to like see that in person. And man, there is a lot of just like, no, I'm not touching that fucking show with a 10-foot. I'm not clicking on this link. And I'm going to let you know in the comment section, I'm not watching this episode, but I will comment and let you know that I'm not going to watch this episode. VTubers are not for me.
Change.
I saw that a lot. The comments. And the numbers also reflected as such.
It's a different audience.
Totally, 100%.
It's a different audience.
Yeah. Like numbers wise, it was about half the viewership of what a normal show like got in terms of the VOD, or gets in terms of the show VOD. And a lot of people are just like, yeah, I'm not going to watch. So I guess that's a nicer way of being like, fuck these people. So I can't like, I'm not upset that they did that, but I was just also surprised to see all of that firsthand, where you don't really get to experience it. So I also was surprised in playing, and this is maybe not the VTuber aspect, but they get called out for using voice changers a lot. Like every time we play Rivals, anytime they talk in game, One, you usually get the like sexist asshole comments, but you also get the like nice voice changer. You're not, are you like a 10-year-old kid? What's that voice? What are you talking like that for? And you got that nonstop when we were playing Rivals. It's pretty impressive, the amount of bullshit that they get when they're just normal voices, or just talking with their normal voice, I should say.
I was gonna say, like, most VTubers use a performative voice, so it does sound a little weird in conversation, but like that's the only thing. It's not that the voice itself is weird; it's that they're intentionally making a voice that sounds like an anime character. You can't really do that with a normal voice. You got to put a little into it, right? So I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
You know what's funny about that? In a related vein,
Unless
I don't
you're
know
really
if it's
just
true or
That's
not.
true. Yeah, some people just sound that way.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is true or not. Obviously, it's on the internet, so don't believe it. You know,
It's definitely
out
true.
of hand.
Then.
But like, I saw like this cut, this not a mashup, but like cuts of like Michael Jackson talking to like interviewers and talking like when he's out in public and stuff like that. And then they showed like they had sound clips of him using his normal voice. And it was much more like, it was much less caricature. And it was much more like a normal human, like person voice than it is, you know, like Michael Jackson's one of those cats that gets imitated all the time because of the way he speaks.
Mm-hmm.
But like when he talks in his normal voice, like it sounds like, oh, that sounds like what the sound that should come out of the person I'm looking at's mouth, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
You know?
So many...
That's weird because he never used it in public. It was just like certain little like handed moments you'd hear him use his not persona voice. It was weird.
So many people have, without even realizing it, a phone voice.
Yes.
When you pick up the phone, your voice gets higher, it gets more energetic, and that's because you know subconsciously that the only way you're going to be able to convey yourself is through your voice. So it becomes different. I would assume that happens for me casting. So of course it would happen to a VTuber. Like that's part of, like, that's how it works. So
yeah.
Like
I mean, I have a different voice on this
voice.
show compared to just normal streams. Like I have show voice is what my chat calls it.
And for the record, for all the people going, no, most VTubers don't do that, or most VTubers do that, we're never going to know because those metrics don't exist. So all of you are wrong, and we have no idea. It could be that 90% of VTubers use voice changers. We don't know. You don't know. None of us know. So don't make statements like that. Yeah. Maybe none of them do. Maybe they all do. We don't know.
Yeah, normally I sound like a VTuber. That's actually true. I put on my show voice for this show. That's true. Yeah.
Oh, back in my previous job before Twitch, I worked in an office with another dude, and we did online sales. So we would answer the phone for people that needed questions about certain listings or whatever. And my partner would make fun of me. He'd be like, "Why do you do that?" I'm like, "Why do I do what?" He's like, "When you answer the phone, your voice goes up and it gets real soft." I'm like, "What?" And I started noticing, like, every time I'd answer the phone, "Hello? Oh, yeah. I have that for you." I'm like,
Yep.
What the fuck? You're right. I do that. I don't know why I do that. Why do I do that?
Yeah.
It's wild. And you know what's even funnier? Most people that do it have no idea.
They have no idea.
No clue.
I didn't.
Yeah.
Nope.
That's
No
how,
idea.
I didn't know that.
That's how it was. Or how it is, I should say. Anywho, that's our show. I want to give a huge shout out to the folks that were on earlier, whose name I'm not going to butcher, but I will say go check out Dawnwalker.
Dawnwalker.
Dawnwalkergame.com. It has all the socials there. Huge shout out to them for coming on. And as Cohh said, if you're still watching, you better be back here in the summertime. Okay, we already had that commitment.
We would love to have you back, and thank you for your time.
And you
Thank
agreed
so
to
much.
it live on air. So do the right thing. Do the right thing. Let's do
That was super cool then, man. That was a fantastic interview. That was awesome.
I had a great time having him here. Zeke, do some shout outs. What do you got going on? Where are you going to be? What can people see you doing?
Will do. Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you for watching. My name is Ezekiel the Third. You can find me at or slash Ezekiel_III on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube, and Ezekiel the Third, all spelled out, on Instagram and TikTok still, apparently.
Yay!
So if you want to check out any of those socials, go right ahead. I'm also on Blue Sky, Ezekiel the Third on Blue Sky as well. Want to give a huge shout out to Maddie Boomaladi and A-Dog for joining us earlier today, talking about their vampire game, and I'm actually pretty excited to check it out now. Also, thanks to Cohh and JP, I am doing a CD-ROM-a-thon all this month and a week into February. I'll be playing nothing but CD-ROM games on my channel from the hardware. And the next game up was a if then winner. I have a contest every first Saturday of every month, and the winner this time got to choose a game, a CD-ROM game, and that game on Tuesday we'll be checking out is called The Dame Was Loaded. Yeah, The Dame Was Loaded. It is a let's see, what year? 1996 FMV detective game. Oh yeah.
Oh Lord.
In the set of the
Wait.
1940s. So
Can I see the top of that box again? Is that sealed?
top?
Yeah.
Oh, it's sealed. Yeah.
That box has
It
been
is
sealed for
sealed in the
almost
cellophane.
30 years.
Yeah. I
You gonna
get
open
those
it?
sometimes. It's
It's gonna
great.
smell like the
Absolutely,
80s.
I'm opening it.
Oh God.
Yeah, I'm gonna rip off the cellophane and give it a good sniff and tell you how it smells, because for some reason people love that.
Yeah.
I feel like
the
that should be in a
smell, man.
museum. That may be like the only one left.
Wow, Indiana Jones changed Cohh. That should be in a
funny
museum.
That should be in a museum.
That was in the cellophane too.
Oh.
Oh no, you had unboxed Oni?
People send me their cellophane up things, and I'll truth be told,
Zeke.
they're not as collectible as you might think.
I was gonna say, because I was looking through my thing and my unboxed Oni was like $1,500, like 10 years ago.
You big box though, big box is different, especially for a title like that people recognize.
Do you check before you open these?
I'm not a collector, man.
Well, I just
Sent to me.
mean,
I'm looking.
for the person that sent it to you, maybe, just for information, they should have that information.
Why would I break their heart like that? Why would I do that?
I love it.
Like, oh shit, I
No,
had
that's
this
great.
game for
All I have
30
to say
years
is-
and I sent it to you. It's worth $2,500. Shit.
Tell me this. At least are you unboxing it live on stream?
Oh, absolutely.
Beautiful. Okay, we're good. As long as there is
Oh,
recorded
yeah, no.
proof.
I pull
we're
everything
good.
out. No. When I do an unboxing for a game that has extra stuff, that's because some of the games do come and they're just the disc. But if it has accessories, I go through each one painstakingly, and I sometimes even read through the registration card.
Beautiful. Okay.
Yeah,
we're good.
the
All of them
Oni
come
stuff
with
is
registration
like,
cards. Remember that?
Oh,
the
Remember having
Oni
to do that?
stuff is like $20. This for just the CD-ROM. Now, if it's the big box, like Zeke said, there's like $300, $400, $200. Yeah, looking on eBay, I don't even know what the best place to acquire this stuff, but yeah, it's a couple hundred, so not that bad.
But yeah, I don't bother looking it up and stuff like that, 'cause I don't want to feel bad tearing into it. I really don't. I want to have the experience of like, oh, here's the manual. Because some of them, I don't know if you remember back in the day. I'm not just talking to you, I'm talking to the audience as well. Like, they came with some like cool DRM shit. Like, you'd have to have the manual or the insert in order to just play the game. Because, oh God, what was the game I was just playing that had that? It had like little codes. Oh, it was Lynch to Larry. You had to have, like, I had to look up an old PDF of a code book to get past the thing, because that's how they used to do copy protection.
Dude,
You'd
the
have to
code
have the
wheel,
entire
the code
set.
wheels were so badass.
Yeah.
It would actually send you a little wheel, and the game would stop, and it would put a code on the screen like LJX, and you'd have to take your little wheel, and you have to spin the outer one and the inner one, and then be like BVL, and then it would like keep letting you play.
Most recently, and it's still it's a great game that still holds up today. I don't know how old it is, but Bard's Tale 4 had a code wheel, and I had to look that shit up. And fuck, if you haven't played Bard's Tale 4, that's In Exile, like at their when they came into their own. It's a great game and really fun.
Hell yeah, it is.
Cool. Cohh, do some shout outs. What do you got going on?
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Cohh. We are kind of gauging and getting ready for the big February rush. I do have a pretty awesome announcement on Monday about something special we're going to be doing in the near future. So stay tuned for that. That's tomorrow. And then this week is going to be more Dynasty Warriors. We're checking out the first Berserker demo tomorrow. Probably some more big stompy MechWarrior 5 clans in the evenings. Been having a great time with that. We'll talk about that sometime. That's been a huge surprise. And yeah, just kind of getting ready and chilling until we get ready for all of the February stuff. So anyway, as always, thank you for watching. A huge shout out and thank you to the Dawnwalker devs. I feel so much better after that interview, and I cannot wait to see what they're going to be releasing in summer. And that's about it for me. As always, thank you for watching, and we will see you probably not next week, but probably the week after that.
Cool. I will be doing more League and Rivaling and chipping away years of my life live on air. Should be a good time. And probably sliding some more Indiana Jones in there because I am enjoying that as well. Kind of taking it easy till the February rush, as Cohh was saying, because then everything comes out. Oh, wait, we didn't even talk about Shadows. Shadows getting delayed was last week. Yeah, so that's now in March. But there's still a shit ton of stuff coming out in March, and we'll be talking about all that. I also forgot to mention to you guys that Krindor contacted me about wanting to come on the show, and I said, let's do it. And that was scheduled for next week. So I'm going to do a show with Krindor. I don't know who, if Zeke, if you're going to be here, or Cohh, if you want to be here, by all means, feel free to come on the show. What's
the topic?
It's Krindor. Krindor is the topic, Cohh. Whatever he wants. Whatever he wants, you know? You don't ask. Krindor is...
So wait, he didn't ask you about this. He probably told you, right? He was just like, hey,
yeah,
next week I'm on Drop Frames.
No, I mean, yes, I can literally read. He messaged me and said, it's been 7 years since we've had an unbelievable Krindor Dropped Frames episode. I'd love to drop some frames again in 2025. And I said, how's your schedule for January? And he goes, end of January / early February, I'm good. He said, great, let's do the 26th. And I said, okay. So there we go. We got a show made. Leaking DMs. Okay. Luckily, I'm not on Twitter, so it's not a good toss. Okay? Thanks for watching, everyone. Wow. We're out of here. We'll see you guys next week. Or some of us next week. Krindor will be here as well. We're out.
I'll see you guys in Big Mex tonight. Woo!
Okay. All right. Not me and Zeke. He's talking to you. This right here.